Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
It's the start of a brand new era here at NXTGEN Racing. It's the next generation of NXTGEN Touring Car Championship. Season 9 is upon us, and it's a brand new horizon for us here at NXTGEN Racing. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at the opening round of the season here at Donington Park National Circuit for what's referred to as the Blue Lobby. And that is because this season, for the first time ever, NXTGEN Racing, NXTGEN Touring Car Championship, the NXTCC as we'll refer to it, will be split into two servers. Tonight we are presenting to you the Blue Lobby, which is considered the second server, and it's because the series has grown so much over its 9 series that it's had to split up into 2 series because the grid is so full now. It's a fantastic prospect on the horizon for us here, and let's see at the end of it all who becomes the champions in this historic season here at NXTGEN Racing. My name's Alex Everett. I'll be your commentator throughout this series. Hosted here. The races are hosted on Tuesday nights, but this broadcast will be brought to you on Wednesday nights. But of course, on the Tuesdays, you'll be able to tune into NXTGEN Racing Live, and that will be presented by Paul Walsh, the regular commentator for the NXTGEN Touring Car Championship. Until now, he's joined by me, and that'll be on Tuesday nights at NXTGEN Racing on YouTube and on Facebook. And you join us here on Wednesday nights, live on YouTube. So this is the NXTGEN Touring Car Series in its 9th season, and we're very much following a format and style very similar to the British Touring Car Championship, and we'll go through that very shortly. Actually, we'll get to it right now, actually. We got a 15-minute qualifying coming up, which is very similar to British Touring Car Championship, and also 3 races to follow. There'll be 3 20-minute races, and tonight that'll be the equivalent of 12 laps here at the Donington Park circuit. Race 1 is formed by qualifying positions, Race 2 grid is formed by the results of Race 1, and it will be a spin the wheel draw to form the grid for Race 3. And the positions for that draw will range between 6 and 12. This is a fixed setup series, so all drivers will drive on the same setup as one another. The only thing they're allowed to change is brake bias. They're not allowed to change wing angle, tyre pressures, nothing like that. So the car you drive is the car you drive out of the box, so to speak. Prices in the top right for this season. You can still get involved if you want to. There are spaces available in this series, and it's ever growing, as we've mentioned previously, with 2 servers. Who knows if there'll be more in the future. If you do want to get involved in NXTGEN Racing, you can scan the QR code you can see in the middle there, and that'll take you to NXTGEN Racing's Discord server, where you can get involved in the racing, talk to the admins, talk to the other drivers, or just get involved as a fan of the community. We are racing the classic now on iRacing TCR cars, and there are 4 manufacturers on display for us today. There are 2 variants of the Hyundai, the Elantra and the Veloster. We also have the Audi RS3 and the Honda Civic Type R. And this is a split category series, so we have drivers based on their skill are split into 3 categories: Pro, Pro-Am and Am. Pro typically consisting of drivers who are the top of the table in these races. Pro-Am are the middle section, and the lower third less experienced drivers will go into the Am category. And these are the tracks we are racing this season, and as you can see, we were mentioning earlier, it's a season very much aligned to the British Touring Car Championship. It's because we are using the same tracks with an asterisk next to it, and of course we are hosting these races on the week after the real-life British Touring Car race. So on the weekend, we had Donington Park National Circuit, round 1, the first 3 races of the British Touring Car Championship, and we're doing our first 3 races in this championship only days later. Croft Circuit is the only one that's got an asterisk next to it, because it might be a circuit that's coming to iRacing in the coming months. We'll find out. But let's go through the calendar. We're going to start off today here at Donington Park National Circuit, and then round 2 of the championship quickly onto that. That'll be next week on the 6th of May at Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, probably the shortest circuit on the calendar. Snetterton 300 will host round 3 of the championship on the 20th of May, and then it's over to Thruxton on the 3rd of June for round 4 of the championship. Up to Cheshire for Alton Park Island Circuit on the 17th of June, and then in the middle of the summer we should be going to Croft Circuit. Knockhill in Scotland will host round 7 of the championship. It's a track that's favoured among many of the drivers, and that'll be hosted on the 12th of August. Then we're back here to Donington Park, but the Grand Prix layout for round 8 of the championship on the 26th of August. Then is my home circuit, Silverstone, and the national layout, the simpler layout of the bunch that's at Silverstone. That'll be hosting round 9 in the 9th month on the 16th in September. And then the final round will be on the 30th of September. We always end British Touring Car Championships at Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit, and that's where we're ending this series. A huge shout out needs to go out to the partners, sponsors and affiliates of Next Gen Racing that help put the show on here, and they include PowerMaxed, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design and Falconer PC, and of course Doble Motorcycles, one of the main sponsors for this series. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at round 1 of the championship at Donington Park Circuit in Castle Donington in Leicestershire, just a stone's throw away from East Midlands Airport. And on some sims you can actually see the planes flying over the circuit. You can't on iRacing, unfortunately, but it's a fantastic feature they bring to many sims to this circuit. But a fantastic circuit, my personal favourite circuit to drive in the UK. And the format we're going to drive on this 1.9 mile or 3.15 kilometre circuit is we're going to have qualifying on the hour at 8 o'clock today. That'll be a 15-minute session, an open session to form the grid. Then we'll have race 1 at quarter past the hour, which will be a 20-minute race. Race 2 will also be 20 minutes at approximately 8:45 UK time this is. And race 3, another 20-minute race, 9:15. The grid for race 1, as we mentioned earlier, is formed by the qualifying results. And then the race 1 results will form the grid for race 2. And then for race 3, it will be a reverse grid draw of 6 to 11, for which I will spin a wheel, and we'll find out what the reverse grid is going to be. We also have, like the real-life series of British Touring Car Championship, we have got Success Ballast, but it's going to work a little bit differently in this series because we have got so many drivers and we've got drivers split into separate categories. Not only do the categories allow drivers all over the field to fight for championships and race wins, but also they have Success Ballast to contend with. The top 10 in the Pro category will have ballast on their cars, likewise the top 5 in Pro-Am and the top 3 in Am category. There are also bonus points on offer, just like the British Touring Car Championship. If you get pole position in your category, you get a bonus point. Same with fastest lap in your category, if you lead a lap in your category, and if you have gained the most places from start of the race to the end of the race in your category, you'll get another bonus point. So there's 4 bonus points on offer, as well as the additional points for the general race results in all 3 races we've got here tonight. So, into the nitty-gritty of the action here. We have got drivers out on the track warming up. And just a little introduction to our on-screen overlay we have got here, and just to explain about the categories some more, because this is something that's a little bit different to British Touring Cars as we know it, but we have the 3 categories, Pro, Pro-Am and Am. Drivers who have their numbers on the timing screen on the left with the black background are Pro category drivers, white background drivers are Pro-Am, and red background are Am category drivers. So that's how you can tell them apart. And of course, they all will be fighting for overall position, but of course, it'll be their categories they will be keenly focused on. So we're here at Donington Park today, a fantastic circuit, it's got to be said, and the shorter variation of Donington Park, where we take the chicane through the left and right there, or the right and left should we say, at the end of the lap, and it's a corner, it's 2 corners that really are tricky for drivers, not only on iRacing but in real life as well. Of course, in real life they had to implement a tyre barrier on both apexes there to stop drivers from cutting the corners. There's nothing like that here on iRacing. On iRacing, they have an automated system that gives you cut track penalties, and in the form of 1x instant points. So drivers do have to serve slow down penalties if they cut the corners too much, which we might see on that final chicane here at Donington Park today. So let's have a little run through the grid of some of the drivers that are here. Now, I'm a little bit rusty on the history of the British Touring, the Next Gen Touring Car Championship, shall I say. I know a lot of history about the real-life British Touring Car Championship, but there's a lot of drivers here I recognise. And if you know me, you know I present the GT3 League on Thursday nights at Next Gen Racing, and of course I recognise drivers such as Nigel Stock here in the Crest Autosport machine. I recognise Roy Plummer here racing for Next Gen Racing tonight. He's raced in some of my series in the past. We also have drivers who were formerly in the Proto and GT3 Championship, like Dwayne Hoffman. It's good to see him back on our screens here. And Gabriel Yilmaz takes part in the GT3 Championship as well. But there's a couple of new faces here for myself. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they get on. But also, these drivers are in a completely new grid, really. Some of them who did race last season would have been racing against the likes of Mikey Doble and Jamie Dory, Adam Delmont, and many other you would consider household names in Next Gen Racing. Wojciech Savidovic as well, previous champion. But these drivers, they've got a good opportunity here, particularly the drivers in the pro category, to get themselves the coveted championship here at Next Gen Racing, to win the Touring Car Championship, the championship that's been running at Next Gen Racing the longest. So it's a big opportunity for them drivers in this second blue server here, as we mentioned. So drivers still getting a little bit of practice in. They can get as many laps in as they want in this practice session, and then we'll be heading on to qualifying. And if we take a look at the lap times up there, quickest driver at the moment is Wayne Douglas, who's not on the track at the moment, so we can't really see him heading around the track, but he's got a lead in practice here of 0.4 of a second there, which is incredible, really. And as the field goes along, the top 7 separated by just less than a second, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they all compete with one another. So we'll be heading into qualifying. As I mentioned, it's a 15-minute session. It will form the grid for race 1. And like I said, it's a step into the unknown for a lot of these drivers. And there's a lot of teams in this championship as well. And there's a teams championship to consider as well. Of course, as we get rounds further into the season with more and more rounds, we'll establish the teams championship a little bit more. But some of the teams that are representing in this server, in this championship, include 88 Tech, Adapt Sim Racing, Aztec Racing, Crest Autosport, CXR Project Black, Full Tilt Motorsport, GBRC, Next Gen Racing Black, Quatermass Motorsport, RDS Motorsport, Semper Racing, SRL, Goldwing, and Vermilion Motorsports. They're the teams in this championship, so a great contingent of teams buddying up to get involved in this series to go for the teams championship as well. A little bit like the manufacturers championship, where drivers in the teams, the top 2 drivers in each race will score for each team. And they're allowed up to 3 drivers, of course. So we're looking at a little battle here in qualifying at the in practice. Sorry, at the moment we've got Roy Plummer there, and behind is Andy Oldhouse and Stanley Donaldson. Following behind there in 3 separate teams are those 3 drivers. They're following each other around, getting a little bit more practice in, and this will be the final stint of their practice where they're plotting their qualifying strategy. And of course, here at Donington Park, following the car in front does give you a significant advantage as well, in the form of slipstream and getting faster down the straight. And of course, through the corners it helps as well. Getting out of the corners, it pulls you along that straight ever more faster. As we see Roy Plummer just ducking out of the way there of the other drivers, as they'll get ready for qualifying very, very shortly. You've got the track map in the top right there to also help you recognise what drivers are who and what categories they're in as well. Remember, black background drivers are pro category, white background are pro am, and red background are am category. So they'll have a little less than a lap to go around here to finish off. And then we're straight into qualifying. So it'll be interesting to see if the teams kind of cluster together to help each other out. It's what I used to do at Donington Park. In the other touring car series I've taken part in the past, I mean, the slipstream, as I mentioned, is a huge advantage around here, and that's what drivers will probably want to latch onto here. But it's quite a warm day as well here at Donington Park. The ground temperature is 33 degrees, which is extremely hot, and it was a very hot day at Donington Park, or in the UK in general, on Sunday. And that is, of course, what the weather is set to. Is similar to the temperature and the conditions that were of these races in real life on Sunday. So track temperature, rain amount, if there's any, will be replicated as well. So it is a series that's going to be very, very close to the British Touring Car Championship, as we mentioned. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here is qualifying. The first qualifying of the season for our blue lobby here, and drivers filtering out of the pits and onto the track. And they'll be warming up their tyres. And mind you, with the track temperature of 33 degrees, it will not take long for these drivers to warm up their tyres. And it'd be interesting to see, actually, if we can get more than a lap out of these tyres out there. So quickest in practice, Wayne Douglas is first out of the blocks here in qualifying. He's not messing around, he's just getting out there, and he's going to get himself a nice clean lap in front of him right from the word go. And what I do is I always do an onboard lap with a driver out there, and of course we don't have a previous champion here right now, so I'm going to pick on Wayne Douglas to take us on a lap around Donington Park when he heads around to complete this out lap. And he's going to show us around Donington Park because he was quickest in practice and because he's first there. So here we go. There is Wayne Douglas heading down to the chicane here, across the curbs, not taking too much off the curb there. Wants a nice clean exit out of the corner, so has a valid lap ready for this first qualifying lap of the session. Here we are, heading up towards Red Gate now. Breaking down the gears into the right-hander, second gear on the accelerator, and then on over the crest of Hollywood. There's a right-hand kink, and then down the hill we'll go into the Craner Curves, one of the most fascinating corners on the track. Breaking into the old hairpin, a dip in the middle of this corner, and then hard on the accelerator, making sure you don't go too wide. There's a car off on the background there, but it's plenty off the track. Now we head through Starkey's Bridge and Schwantz Curve into McLean's. Getting a nice early entry into the corner in third gear there, hugging the inside around. And now into Coppice Corner, a double apex right-hander. Over the curb, back on the accelerator, taking a little bit, well actually no, just near the curb on the on the exit of the corner there. Past the old museum on the left, which of course isn't a museum anymore. And now into Robert Chicane. Taking plenty of curb this time on the first corner in, and a little bit of curb on the one out. And that was a lap on board with Wayne Douglas. And he crosses the line. Does he get himself on the board? Yes, he does. And it's a 1:12 exactly. So that's a great, great start to the session for him. On purple splits then was Slavomir Jaworski, but does not go quicker at the end of the lap. It was a good middle sector, but third sector wasn't quite up to the mark. Jaworski takes second place for the moment. Top of the Pro-Ams at the moment, albeit not many have come through yet, is Ben Bennyworth. I know him from the GT3s, likewise with Phil McDougall. American-based driver Dylan Hunter takes second place in the Pro-Am category. And for the Am category, at the top so far for them is Gabriel Yilmaz for Aztec Racing. But two pro category drivers at the top of the table at the moment, and they are Wayne Douglas and Slavomir Jaworski. And we've got Wayne Douglas getting a little bit of a slipstream from Nigel Stock there, who has not done a completed lap just yet in the Honda. But the Veloster here is taking it easy going into the chicane and is going to have a big exit from here to start a brand new lap. Lots of drivers up ahead there. We'll probably need to get out of the way. There we go. Wayne Douglas is telling these drivers to get out of the way. I'm coming through. Donaldson was on a good first lap, and he's had a bit of... he's helped someone else behind him, and that is Mike Barber. Does Mike Barber go up to the top of the stands? He doesn't, but he goes in front, so that's not going to be ideal if he wants to get a fast lap in, but a valid lap is what he's going to need at the moment, but there is plenty of time. It is a lap that is just over a minute in length, so realistically these drivers can get a lot of laps in here. Mike Barber is in the pro category, so he'll be looking to get towards the top of the standings. Likewise will Matthew Cheverton, who is fighting for silver category championship in the GT3s over on Thursdays, and he's in the pro category right now. 5th place overall, 3rd place in category. Okay, other drivers who are on fast laps at the moment. Stephen Fry is a new name to myself, but he's in my team. We've recruited him. Good driver in the Pro-Am category. Let's see what this lap ends up being for Stephen. Stephen Fry, not to be confused with the comedian slash actor. This is our very own Stephen Fry. And across the line he goes into 5th place in category, 9th place on the grid overall. And Nigel Stock, his teammate, crosses the line to go 2nd in AM category, 11th in the standings. But top of the AM category at the moment is Thomas Delaney in the SVP livery there with the Union Jack emblazed all over it. Very stylish livery indeed, I quite like that. We'll have to have an informal award, ladies and gentlemen, of what's the best livery out there, and of course I'll vote for my own team for that. But yeah, let us know in the comments who you think has the best livery out there. There's some fantastic ones out there. Not a single bad livery out there, it's got to be said. They're all very, very good. Back to the action in qualifying as we're heading towards 6 minutes through the session. Matthew Cheverton gets another good lap in, goes even quicker than before, jumps from 5th to 3rd, and that's 3rd overall, much closer to Wayne Douglas, less than half a second off top spot. Wayne Douglas, who was quickest in practice, and that opening lap of the session certainly was very, very good and laid down an early benchmark. As we see Wayne Douglas compete another lap here. Mark Kent crossed the line to go quickest in the AM category, and Stephen Fry has just crossed the line to go fastest provisionally in the Pro-Am category. And Wayne Douglas breaks into the 111s with a fantastic lap there, extending his pole spot at the moment. Mike Barber goes into 3rd place in pro category, 4th place overall, and we've got Piotr here is in 5th place in category. Brilliant, brilliant start to the session for a lot of these drivers. Now, Nigel Stock was on a good lap, I noticed, but I think he might have invalidated it at the chicane because he remains 3rd in category now. But we'll see if he can get another clean lap in here. This is what I was talking about just a moment ago with the final chicane. It has the potential to really ruin your lap right at the end of it, and Carl Thompson crosses the line with a good middle sector, but it's 6th in the pro category at the moment. Let's see what else Wayne Douglas can do. Nearly 2/10 clear at the top, and 2/10 at Donington Park is actually a lot of time. So this is a very good start to the session for him. Stephen Fry's going to cross the line with a good 1st and 2nd sector, but does not go quicker in the 3rd sector, and therefore stays on the same time. It was actually only 6/10 of his personal best. Good middle sector there for Mike Barber, but 1st and 3rd sector not so much. Now, drivers might be considering going in for fresh boots soon, fresh tyres. We might be getting a little bit hot on the old tread underneath these cars. Let's see how Phil McDougall gets on here. 9th overall at the moment. Very good times, and it is very good. Pole position provisionally in the Pro-Am category takes it away from Stephen Fry, and of course, pole position in your category isn't pole position on the grid for Pro-Am and Am at the moment, but it does get you bonus points being the highest one in your category. So that's 1st place, but 3rd overall, which is a very, very good position on the grid for Phil McDougall in the CXR car there. Stephen Fry's on another good lap here. Green 1, green 2. Can it be a green 3? Oh, he took a lot of curb on the inside of the final corner there. Will it be a valid lap as Mark Kent crosses the line and goes up to fastest in the AM category? Stephen Fry, that was a good lap. Puts him back into pole position provisionally for the Pro-Am category. A good battle between him and Phil McDougall at the moment. And also Crest Autosport, woohoo, waving the flag at the moment. First place in the AM category. 7th place overall is Nigel Stock with a brilliant lap there. Now, we did see in the previous lap he did, the previous quick lap he did, he was invalidated, I'm pretty sure, on the final chicane, but that is what he can do in these touring cars. And it's a good mixture of all the manufacturers here. You can see all the manufacturers on the left there. There's 3 manufacturers, but there's 4 cars. There are 2 Hyundais to choose from, the Veloster and the Elantra. But it's a good split between Hyundais, Audis and Hondas in this field, which is great to see. Okay, drivers that have not set a time yet. There are 2. There's Lewis Mason and Jeff Nordstrom. But Mark Hughes has just put in another lap to put himself 5th in category, 19th on the grid, provisionally. We've got just over 5 minutes left in this session. And let's see what's going on out there. We've got Jaworski is giving Wayne Douglas a bit of a tow here. But Wayne Douglas is not on a good lap here. But purple sectors for Jaworski. But a yellow final sector. Doesn't go quicker. No. Oh, yes, he does. Do excuse me. Do excuse me. It was a bit delayed to come through there. But does go quicker and is just 44 thousandths of a second off of Wayne Douglas, who is on the track right behind him there, getting a slipstream from him. But will this actually hold up Wayne Douglas? Wayne Douglas holds the cards at the moment, being top of the standings. But let's see what Jaworski can do for the remainder of the session here. Pro category drivers are not quite challenging these two at the moment. We've got Mike Barber and Matthew Cheverton down a few rows at the moment on the grid. We'll see what they can respond with as time goes by in this session. Mark Kent's on a very good middle sector here. Not such a good first sector. And there's our pole sitters currently in each category. Douglas, Fry and Stock. Mark Kent, let's see how this is. Oh, he pulls over to the left. I don't think he thinks it's good. It wasn't. It was nearly a second off on the previous one, so not such a good third sector. But Mark Kent will try again on the next lap. Wayne Douglas didn't go quicker, but Stephen Fry did go quicker just then as he pulls off to go back to the pit. Stephen Fry actually went quicker on that lap. He's now on a 1 minute 12.15, and he's now 6 hundredths of a second clear of Phil McDougall, who crosses the line. And this might be an out lap actually from Phil McDougall, so he'll go again. Okay, other drivers who might be on quick laps. There's a couple of yellow sectors out there, as we can see here. Sean Doby here. Is that a CXR car? I think it is. Doesn't go quicker, does Sean Doby, the Scotsman in the Hyundai there. It is not a CXR car. It is an 88 Tech car. Very similar livery, though. Similar colour scheme. But a very cool one at that. Very Jackson Pollock. Quite like that. As I said, some very nice liveries in the field, so keep an eye on them and let us know what your favourites are. Okay, Douglas on yellow splits here, so it hasn't quite hooked up for him. And the thing is, with Donington Park, once you hit your limit, you've hit your limit. It's very hard to find more at Donington Park because there's such few corners. And once you've, as I said, once you find that limit, that is the limit, really. Whereas somebody who may have just found another limit is Ben Bennyworth, 3rd in Pro-Am right now. He puts himself there and puts himself 5th on the grid, which puts the pro category drivers here of Mike Barber and Matthew Cheverton further down. Mike Barber here of the Quatermass team and Cheverton of the Aztec team. They'll definitely want to be closer to who may be their rivals for this season, Douglas and Jaworski. We've also got Piotr Jagielewski. I will get used to that name as the season gets on. I do apologise. He would be someone who will want to get higher up the order, being pro category, 5th at the moment and 10th on the grid. We'll see what the remaining laps can do. There's not many more opportunities for drivers to get themselves into better positions. There's 25 drivers out there right now. All of them have set valid laps, albeit Jeff Nordstrom hasn't done a blistering lap just yet. He may well do a bit later on, but Roy Plummer has just put himself fourth into category of the AM category, just behind Thomas Delaney, and provisionally will line up on the 8th row there. Now there's a lot of drivers in the pits already, have called it a day on qualifying, but one driver who's going to go for it for one more lap, he might well get another one actually, because there's just under a minute left here, and he might well have got to the line quickly enough to do an extra lap. This is Jaworski. Let's see how this lap gets on. It's not looking good on the sectors, unfortunately. Yellow sectors, which means below PB. But it's still an extra practice lap, and he might well be able to get another lap in. In fact, he will. He's definitely within reach to do another lap here. So we'll see how Jaworski gets on here. Wayne Douglas has said, you know what, that is it for me. I'm happy. Likewise with leader in Pro-Am, Stephen Fry, and Nigel Stock in the AM category. Let's see if there's other drivers on quick sectors at the moment. Jeff Nordstrom is on a personal best first sector, so this might be an improvement from the previous. Roy Plummer still out there trying to get another lap in. And I've seen Roy Plummer develop from driving touring cars on Race Room and then getting championships in the equivalent of AM category in Race Room championships at Next Gen and Crest Autosport. I've seen him do so, and it's great to see him on iRacing here, a step up. And just to mention, ladies and gentlemen, Jaworski has gone back to the pits and will not try for pole position any further. So it looks like our top three might well be, well, our number ones in each category might be set for each category. There are a couple of drivers still out on the track, but they're mostly doing yellow sectors. Let's keep an eye on Stanley Donaldson here for Quatermass Motorsport. We'll cross the line here with a yellow sector. I don't think it's going to be improvement. Oh, it is actually. I tell a lie. It is still 8th in category, but 16th on the grid. So putting yourself up further overall is a big help because it gets you closer to your rivals. And of course, being higher up the grid is better anyway. So that's everyone completed in qualifying here, ladies and gentlemen. Our pole sitters are overall and pro category Wayne Douglas, Stephen Fry in the Pro-Am category, and in the AM category, Nigel Stock. We'll head over to the grid very, very shortly here. But a very interesting qualifying session, to say the least there. And we did see the tyres actually lasted quite well, despite the hot temperatures here at Donington Park of 33 degrees. Let's just check what they are right now. 34 degrees, so it's actually got hotter. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go through the grid for... Oh, no, we're not. We're going to go have a warm-up, first of all. And then we'll head into the race session. We'll see if drivers head out for this warm-up here, or if we're going to skip along to the race. We'll find out what the stewards decide to do. And drivers will probably also be receiving a driver's briefing as well. And I believe that's what's going on right now, actually. They're receiving the driver's briefing. So we'll do a little bit of housekeeping and go through a little bit of what this season is all about. This is the 9th season here at Next Gen Racing. And of course, this is a historic season in the Next Gen Racing, and now hosting 2 servers. The Orange server, the Orange Lobby, which features drivers such as Mikey Double, and you can watch that live on Tuesday nights. The first round would have already gone live and streamed by the time you're watching this. And on Wednesday nights, here is the Blue Lobby. And of course, you can still get involved in either of those lobbies in this series. If you scan the QR code in the off center of our screen there, you can get involved in Next Gen Racing Discord server. And you can also go to the description of this YouTube video and click the Discord link, and that'll take you directly to Discord. You can join as a fan, or you can drive as a wannabe driver in this series. We are following a British touring car format, and by that we're using success ballast, similar race format, and similar tracks. In fact, the same tracks. We start here at Donington Park tonight, and our season will go on a long journey up until the end of September. Plenty of gaps in between the races for these drivers to get their practice in for each of these rounds. But next week, we're straight back into the action. We're at Brands Hatch Indy for the second round of the championship. And then round 3 will be at the Snetterton 300 circuit. Round 4 being at Thruxton, which is one of the more recent tracks joined on iRacing from the British touring car contingent of tracks. Alton Park will host the 5th round of the championship. And then an asterisk next to round 6. If we receive Croft Circuit on iRacing, that will be round 6 of the championship. And if not, we'll use another track that is similar to that of Croft's characteristics. Knock Hill in Scotland will host round 7 of the championship. With round 8 we're returning to Donington Park but the Grand Prix circuit. Round 9 at Silverstone National Circuit, and round 10 will be the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Drivers still receiving their driver's briefing at the moment, and once that is finished, we'll be heading straight into the racing action. We got a 20-minute sprint race coming up very, very shortly. The time there does say 8:15. It's going to be more like 8:25, but we'll amend that for next week. There's going to be plenty of exciting racing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. There are going to be intervals in between each race to allow drivers to get into the new servers and allow the admins to host the new servers. And something else with this series, and particularly if you're interested in iRacing yourself, this series does have live stewards, which means there is a steward obviously watching the races, and they get a live view of the race, and they will be scrutinising the racing standards and also calling for safety cars and or red flags should they be needed. And we'll see if they're needed tonight. I believe they weren't needed on Sunday, but on Sunday mostly clean racing with the odd argy-bargy that's inevitable with touring car racing. We'll see if there's a little bit of that tonight. But Sunday was very much all about Tom Ingram and Ash Sutton. And we'll see if tonight will end up being all about Wayne Douglas and Slavomir Jaworski, because they seem to be the top 2 in qualifying out of tonight. Now, driver's briefing is over, and drivers will be heading out for a little bit of warm-up, I believe. Yes, Matthew Cheverton's out on the track to get himself a little bit of practice, and then we'll skip along to the race session very, very shortly. Cheverton just getting a little bit, getting acclimatized to the track, because when you switch over to different sessions, it'll have different weather and conditions, and the marbles on the track will be a little bit different as well. So this is clever from Cheverton, and a couple of drivers now following as well, as Cheverton is getting a little bit acclimatized to the first lap of the race, which is crucial when the tyres are at their coldest, to find out what the grip is like on these corners. Roy Plummer's out on the track as well, but Cheverton managed to get just over half a lap in, so he'll have more knowledge of that first half a lap than other drivers will in this server. Right, okay, we are going to go through the grid for our opening race of the season. On the front row will be Wayne Douglas for Next Gen Racing Black, and alongside him will be Slavomir Jaworski. Stephen Fry will line up on 3rd position, and alongside him on that second row will be Phil McDougall. Ben Bennyworth lines up 5th, and alongside him on the 3rd row will be Mike Barber. Matthew Cheverton will line up 7th position, with Nigel Stock. Pole position of the AM category will start in 8th position overall. Dylan Hunter will line up 9th position, with Piotr Jagislewski in the 10th position. 11th position will be Duke's Goose. We'll head back a bit there. 11th position will be Mark Kent, with Joseph Gibson lined up in 12th position. 13th will be Carl Thompson and Andy Oldhouse alongside in that 7th row. 8th row of the grid, will be Thomas Delaney and Stanley Donaldson, with 17th and 18th, Roy Plummer and Sean Dobie. Jeremy Nordstrom and Mark Hughes will line up on the 10th row of the grid, and then on the 11th row will be Dwayne Hoffman and Andy Chell. And then the final 3 positions will be Lewis Mason, Gabriel Yilmaz and Jeff Nordstrom. That's the grid for our opening race of the night, and it will be a standing start, which means drivers have got to be quick to react to the lights. And quickest to react to the lights will have the benefit of getting into the first corner first, potentially. It's quite a tricky corner, Redgate is, to overtake on the outside, but it can be done. And guarding on the inside is quite tricky as well here at Donington Park, because you've got people power around the outside. So you've got to shape your entry into the corner very, very cleverly, heading into turn number 1 on lap 1 here in these touring car races. I'm very much used to the rolling starts we get in the GT3s, and we are gridding up. And Wayne Douglas hasn't taken to the start line here, so it will be Jaworski who will start on the front row here on his own. And we are away for the first race of the season for the Next Gen Racing Touring Car Championship. Down towards turn number 1 we will go, and it will be a nice easy entry into turn number 1, or will it for Jaworski? It was a good start from Stephen Fry, who tried to get it to the inside heading into turn number 1, but it didn't quite happen. He was very, very close indeed though. Side by side between the 2 Pro-Am category drivers, we head through the crane of curves now. Fry has his nose in front and has his car in front, but Phil McDougall trying to challenge around the outside as Ben Bennyworth is challenging right behind. Nigel Stock in the AM category here on his own in that AM category. Got a bit of contact there between him and Jegoslewski on the outside there, but Piotr drops in behind. So a nice, easier start for Jaworski than he would have probably would have anticipated. Oh, as we got a bit of an instant further back here as drivers are filtering through. And look at Thomas Delaney screaming through the middle there, getting in between all those cars as they bog down, heading out of McLean's corner. That was a brilliant section from him. But Nigel Stock is the one who's dropped down the most positions as a result of that. And here's how it happened. Nigel Stock heading into McLean's corner. Let's see what happened to him here. Might have been contact between him and Jegoslewski. Let's just check this out. Jegoslewski goes up the inside and understeers into Nigel Stock, and that forces Stock off the road. Back to the live action. Leading the end of the first lap is Jaworski, and he has an 0.8 of a second lead from Stephen Fry, who's leading the Pro-Am category. Brilliant start for the Pro-Am drivers here of Fry and McDougall, and they've got some Pro category drivers behind them as well. We've got Ben Bennyworth right in between Matthew Cheverton and in front of his teammate Mike Barber at the moment. Leader of the AM category after lap 1 is Mark Kent, and look at all the debris on the ground on tarmac already after just 1 lap, and that will really upset the tyres here. We've got Tom Delaney side by side. And falling back a little bit there is Carl Thompson, and contact between him and Andy Oldhouse as they head out of McLean's corner. Side by side, almost between Delaney and Jegoslewski as they head through Coppice corner. And a few cars bogging down here, but that's Lewis Mason who is on the inside of Oldhouse. So we head down to the chicane. He's going to be a little bit behind. He might have to tuck back into the racing line. Oh, and that was Roy Plummer on the outside there, just trying to keep it alongside, but he understeers off out of the chicane there and will drop a few more places, will Roy Plummer. I think he just overshot that chicane just a little bit and couldn't get it gripped up, and he had to evade to the grass to avoid spinning out. But the driver in the... Oh, I believe we have a safety car. Do we have a safety? Oh, I'm not too sure. They were running a little bit slow then. Sorry, that was a little bit that was a little bit deceptive for me. I thought they were running a little bit slow then, but it was just my eyes deceiving me a little bit there. We carry on with green flag at the moment, with 23 cars out there at the moment. I'm not too sure why Wayne Douglas didn't take to the start. That's such a shame. From pole position, it would have been looking so good for him. As we see Ben Bennyworth moving up into 4th place in the overall standings here. He moves past Matthew Cheverton at Coppice Corner there, and here's a replay of that. And that's Matthew Cheverton quite a long way ahead. I wonder if there was a little mistake from Cheverton. There he is. Let's see what happens. Yet it gets a... Oh, no, it looks like he's just let by Bennyworth. Maybe he had a slowed down penalty to serve. But he now drops to 5th place. And he's under pressure from Mike Barber. He's got 2 Quatermass drives around him. But Mike Barber's under pressure from Dylan Hunter on the outside here as we head into Redgate. Oh, big late braking from Barber there to just make sure he keeps it in front of Hunter going through Redgate corner. He had a little bit of a wide berth there around Redgate. Took a bit of the gravel on the outside. Oh, and there's contact there as well. That's Mark Hughes who goes off the track. There's a little bit of contact between him and Dwayne Hoffman, I believe. But he rejoins the track. But here, there's a big scuffle in the AM category drivers. Roy Plummer there from Sean Doby. And Nigel Stock sending it to the inside of Dwayne Hoffman at the old hairpin. Trying to get back his high positions that he had from the start of this race. Inside still of Dwayne Hoffman. He's going to hug the inside. And Dwayne Hoffman has washed out a little bit wide. That's another place for Nigel Stock. He's back up to 18th and 6th in category. He has got 2 drivers in AM category ahead of him that he's going to try and hunt down here. Nice easy lead at the moment for Jaworski. He leads at the end of lap 4 of 16. Stephen Fry is out on his own as well, but he's going to be keeping himself honest with Phil McDougall just there. And they've broken away from this battle for 4th place. There's a trail of 6 cars there who may well start battling for 4th place if things bunch up here. We've got a nice battle here. That's Mason looking to the inside of Oldhouse, but does not make it to the inside, does the Aztec driver. But a nice undercut there. Very, very reminiscent of Ash Sutton, I reckon, from one of the races previously, but he didn't quite make it, so it wasn't quite Ash Sutton-esque, but it looked like it was going to be pretty good initially. Jagoslewski there in 4th place in Pro-Am, but 15th overall. Oh, and off the track there almost was Oldstone. In fact, he did go off the track and he lost a position. Through goes Jagoslewski's gained loads of positions from that. He jumps past Thompson, Mason and Oldhouse all in one straight there, heading out of the old hairpin. Brilliant from the pro category driver. Shevington here under pressure still from Mike Barber. Heading through the chicane there. They don't want to cut it too much. They don't want to get too many off-track penalties, as there are instant point limits in these races. If you get too many, you get booted by the virtual race steward. And it'd be race over. And of course there are live stewards as well, monitoring track limits. So you cannot get away with too much in this series. Of course, driving standards will also be monitored in this series. We've got Piotier, Jagoslewski and Thomas Delaney side by side. And Delaney doesn't fight too much with the pro category driver. Jagoslewski has gained the best part of 6 positions, I think, in the last lap. And now we see Nigel Stock move past Roy Plummer, who I think went wide a little bit at the old hairpin there. This is a replay of Roy Plummer heading down through Hollywood and the Craner curves. It might well be... Oh, he did touch the off track there as he headed into the old into Craner curves. And he just broke a little bit too late. The car gets out of shape. And off the track he goes. Nigel Stock is back up to 4th place in category. And he's got to work hard now to catch up with Lewis Mason, who is right behind Andy Oldhouse. And they're both in separate categories. And I think Mason backed off a lot there to try and get a good exit from the chicane. But Nigel Stock, as we mentioned, has got a lot of ground to make up there to get back into the podium spots in the AM category. Pro-Am category, still a healthy lead by more than a second for Stephen Fry. 2nd place overall as well. And of course, the finishing positions in this race are where you will start on the grid for the 2nd race. So it's very important that you do well in this race. Jagoslewski and Delaney still battling, and I think Delaney took back that position from Jagoslewski. And we will go to a quick replay of that. Click the right one. Hey, into Redgate we go. Thomas Delaney doesn't make the dive there. Brakes a little bit earlier actually, but he's taking a later apex, and Jagoslewski washes out wide. And a good exit from Tom Delaney there. Gets it to the inside. There you go. Ash Sutton-esque. And a good move there from Delaney. There's still 1 and 2, Delaney being in the 1 position. Second place in the AM category. He'd be keen to catch up with Mark Kent, but Mark Kent is quite some way up the road. You can see on the track map. He's braking into Redgate now, as Tom Delaney is only heading across the line now. So there's a big gap in the AM category lead for Mark Kent at the moment. There he is in the full tilt Hyundai Elantra there. Bennyworth, 3rd place in category, 4th place on the road. Look at that. That's Matthew Cheverton all over the rear of Ben Bennyworth. Is he going to be later on the brakes going into McLean's? He isn't. And we'll have to try again at another corner. Now, this is the thing with Donington Park. Once you get your perfect lap, it's hard to get the better of other drivers. You have to kind of lure drivers into making mistakes here at Donington Park. And you've got to have such late braking and good stability with the car to make sure you can complete your overtakes. But Cheverton in the middle of a quite a mass sandwich here. That was a good exit from the chicane there. Might this be an opportune move for Cheverton? Right behind Bennyworth as we head up to Redgate. Probably not close enough to make a move, although he's going to try. To the inside he goes. And that is a fantastic move. And he's going to hold that move because he's kept Bennyworth to his outside. Into 4th place goes Matthew Cheverton. Now, I remember Cheverton and Bennyworth having great battles in the silver category in the GT3s a couple of seasons ago. And we're seeing similar here. I think Carl Thompson had a moment heading out of Redgate there. Here he is. He's following Delaney and Jegoslewski. I'm getting used to that name now. Carl Thompson into turn number 1. Oh, washes out a little bit wide. Oh, and that was, I think that was Lewis Mason to the inside. That'll be one for the stewards to look at to see if, I think it was Lewis Mason. Yeah, Lewis Mason got to the inside enough. And was they long enough? And they'll decide on that. Still good battling here between Delaney and Jegoslewski, but it has bunched up a little bit. Lewis Mason has been brought into this battle for 11th spot. There's the view from the Audi RS3 of Jegoslewski. Drivers ducking in and out of slipstream, trying to get the better of their opponents. We'll check back in very later on with these battles. But of course we've got Phil McDougall here trying his best to respond to Stephen Fry just up ahead there. But Stephen Fry at the moment is doing enough to hang on to the Pro-Am win here. 2.5 seconds off of Jaworski, who's having a not an easy race, but he's having probably the ideal race for the start of the season. Points on the board, maximum points on the board as well. And just to check fastest laps as well, he is fastest of them. So it's a good start to the season for Jaworski so far. Delaney dropped off a little bit from Jegoslewski. He has broken away just the tiniest bit, over half a second from Delaney now. Oh, as he bounces across the curbs, trying to take every bit of the curb that he can. Delaney washed out a little bit wide there, heading out of the chicane. And that's going to allow Lewis Mason alongside as we head up to Redgate. This is the battle for second place in AM category. And in fact, I think... Oh, no, Delaney is later on the brakes. And he's going to hold that heading out of Redgate with such late braking into that corner. Mason has to try again, but he's going to have a run down towards the old hairpin. Right behind the Veloster is Lewis Mason here. Across the curbs, he had a much better line through the corner, but there was nowhere else to go but into the back of Delaney to push him along. And give him almost a boost up the hill here towards Coppice Corner. And right behind, looking... Oh, he took a look to the inside there, did Olsen, but he thought better of it. Nigel Stock moves past Carl Thompson here. Inside at McLean's. Sorry, Coppice Corner. And he moves through. That's another outright place for Nigel Stock. But responding, actually, might be Carl Thompson here. He's not quite alongside, but will he be later on the brakes? No, he won't. Nigel Stock will stay in front of Carl Thompson heading through the chicane. Been a good recovery drive so far from Nigel Stock. As we see back here, oh, I think Tom Delaney had a slow-down penalty. Yes, he has. He's had to slow down to let by Lewis Mason and Oldhouse. Oh, and that relieves the pressure a little bit for Lewis Mason, albeit running off the track a little bit wide then. And we have a 16-lap race. I may have said earlier 12 laps. Oh, hang on a minute. We have had progress, and that is Cheverton has passed Phil McDougall. And here's how he did it. He's caught up with Phil McDougall over the last few laps and has done it at McLean's corner here. Nice dive to the inside. And McDougall could do nothing but relinquish that position. Of course, they're in different categories. Cheverton's in the pro category, so he'd be keen to catch up with his rival up ahead. Now, Cheverton's fastest lap is only 0.04 of a second off of Jaworski's. As we see Stephen Fry make it par. No, wait a minute. There's damage on Jaworski's car there. Huge damage on his car. So what's happened to him there? There's nothing that's come up on my screen here, but he's got a lot of damage on the front of that car. And he's in trouble now for the overall race win. So the top two from qualifying in the pro category here are in big trouble. Douglas didn't take to the start of the race. Not sure what's happened to him. But Jaworski has got heavy damage on the front of that car there. Can't quite see from that angle, but you can just check out on the front left of that car. A lot of damage, and that's going to be slowing him down. So Stephen Fry here has an opportunity for an outright race win here if he can keep this going and put up a challenge in the final 3 laps of the race coming up. Heading down to the chicane. A lot of that curb. I just wonder if a lot of damage came to Jaworski's car from hitting the curbs. I have got nothing that's come up in the events here. It's a mystery one. Guards the inside going into red gates. All he can do now is defend. Stephen Fry is going to have big momentum here to get himself into that top spot. Swap of positions potentially here. Barber takes over from his teammate Ben Bennyworth. Here's a quick shot of how that happened. Hits the curb and goes wide, does Bennyworth, and that allows Barber through. And just going back to the live pictures quickly because we've got Stephen Fry all over the rear of Jaworski here. 3 laps to go, or 2.5 actually. And Jaworski is very much on the defensive here, and Cheverton's catching up as well. Cheverton to the inside of Stephen Fry. He gets held up. He bashed into the back of Jaworski there, and it forced him to slow down, and Cheverton's through, and Cheverton's now challenging for first place overall and first place in category. To the outside of the chicane, he backs out of it, realising this is not the ideal line to take through this corner, especially for an overtake. Now Stephen Fry has to respond as well. Cheverton, can he get past his rival in the pro category? I think there is a difference in straight line speed here. No, there is, and it seems to be okay. But Cheverton dives to the inside, doing one of his specialties, it seems, that we've seen from the last 2 overtakes we've watched of him in this race. Now, Cheverton wasn't looking great in qualifying at the start of the race. He was battling with Barber and Bennyworth, and now he's in potential for winning this race. Brilliant comeback from the Aztec racing driver here. To the inside at the old hairpin. He's still got the inside. He's got the better power out of the corner. He's going to have the inside heading up to McLean's. Follow him through might be Stephen Fry here. He's tucked between the two of them, trying to pick the better line. Cheverton to the inside. There's contact between him and Jaworski. Jaworski's sideways, and he drops a lot of positions. But into the lead of the race goes Matthew Cheverton. Jaworski is still trying to hang on here. He's now got Ben Bennyworth on his outside. He's just dropping positions like a fly here. Mike Barber's into second in pro category as well. But leading the race is Matthew Cheverton. You would not have thought that about 5 laps ago. But brilliant racing from him. Jaworski's really struggling with that car. He must have... Yeah, his front left wheel is out of alignment. That's what's going on. And... he just does not have the pace anymore. He's just limping to the end now. White flag is waving. Jaworski's limping home here. I'm surprised he doesn't have the infamous meatball flag, but he's carrying on nonetheless, and he's dropping positions hand over fist. He might be safe for 3rd place, because Jagislewski is a long way behind in 11th place. But a brilliant, brilliant start to the season here. Plenty of drama. And up 6 places from the start. Cheverton is looking good for a race win here if he can keep it ahead of Stephen Fry from here to the end of the race. In his category, he's not really rivaled, as we saw a lot of drivers jostling for position there, and we've got Jaworski fighting with Dylan Hunter here, and Hunter might be able to get it around before the chicane here, but we must switch out here to our race winner in race 1 here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and we've got drama at the end here. Mike Barber and Phil McDougall come together in final chicane, but winning the race is Matthew Cheverton. In the pro category, a fantastic race from him. Stephen Fry takes 2nd position, and somehow he managed 3rd place in the end. Jaworski, with that drama on the final lap from the other 2 drivers there, takes 3rd place overall and 2nd place in category. 2nd in the Pro-Ams, 4th overall is Dylan Hunter, and 3rd in the Pro-Ams is Joseph Gibson. We have got plenty of stuff to watch at the end of this race here, ladies and gentlemen. And in the AM category, to mention, Mark Kent wins in the AM category. And up to 2nd place goes Nigel Stock. Good recovery drive in the end there. And Lewis Mason finishing 3rd place, and he gained the most overall positions in that race. 10 overall positions to finish 13th place in that race. Brilliant drive from him. So, Aztec Racing have had a very good race so far here. Very good night at the moment. Okay, before we go to the results, we are going to have a look at that final lap incident between, I think it was Mike Barber and Phil McDougall. Here we go, heading down the main straight here. We got Mike Barber in the 2nd position and Phil McDougall in front in the green CXR car. Dive into the inside. Oh, it's a very big dive and hits the curb, goes straight on. Oh dear, there's nothing Phil McDougall could have done. Maybe he could have broke a bit more to undercut, but in those situations on the final lap, it's quite hard to think what to do in those situations. Mike Barber might hold his hands up there and say, yep, I might have been in the wrong there. He looked like he was going into that corner way too quickly. Now, something happened to Ben Bennyworth on the final lap as well, because he dropped a few positions. Now, this is heading towards Redgate, and he's side by side here with Jaworski. Jaworski's desperately trying to hang on to it despite the damaged car. And he lingers left a little bit, and it forces Bennyworth off the track a little bit there. And Dylan Hunter sneaks through to take the position in the category. Back to the live picture, so we'll give you the results of this race, this opening race of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, what a fantastic race that was. Welcome to the Next Gen Touring Car Championship, Alex. Excellent, can't wait for a race 2. Now, here's the pro category results. In fact, we'll go to overall results first of all, and then we'll break it down by category next. So Matthew Cheverton wins from Stephen Fry in 2nd place. Jaworski with the damaged car finishes in 3rd place in the end, with Dylan Hunter in 4th position. And rounding off the top 5 is Joseph Gibson. Ben Bennyworth finishes 6th from Mark Kent, the highest AM driver. Stanley Donaldson in 8th position from Phil McDougall in 9th, following that final lap drama between him and Mike Barber, who finished 10th on the road in the end. Piotr Jagislewski is in 11th position from Nigel Stock, recovering a lot of places throughout that race. Lewis Mason in 13th place from Andy Oldhouse in 14th, and Carl Thompson in 15th from Thomas Delaney in 16th. Roy Plummer 17th, Dwayne Hoffman 18th, Mark Hughes 19th, and Sean Doby in 20th. And of course, the remaining positions, Jeremy Nordstrom in 21st position, Andy Chell in 22nd, Jeff Nordstrom in 23rd. 24th is Gabriel Yilmaz, and non-starters were Wayne Douglas and Jordan Hogan. And the pro results of that race, Cheverton gets the top spot from Jaworski and Mike Barber, rounding off the top 3 in pro category. And the top 3 in the Pro-Am category were Stephen Fry, Dylan Hunter and Joseph Gibson. And the top 3 in the Am category were Mark Kent from Nigel Stock, just ahead of Lewis Mason. A very, very interesting race to start us off there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be going for a quick break now while the next race is set up. And when we come back, it will be race 2 of the night, which will be another 20-minute race. And the results of that race will be our grid for this upcoming race. So don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back with race 2.
Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Donington Park for the NXTGEN Racing NXTCC Season 9 Blue Lobby Round 1 at Donington Park National Circuit. And we've got race 2 of the night coming up for you very, very shortly. But first of all, while we're waiting for the drivers to get their warm-up in, a little bit about the series. This is the NXTGEN Racing NXTCC, and this is the Blue Lobby, which will be going out live on YouTube on Wednesday night, but the racing takes place on the Tuesdays. So you are seeing this 24 hours later than when it's actually happening. But in these races, it's a very historic season here at NXTGEN Touring Car Championship because we have 2 servers now for this racing. We have so many drivers here at NXTGEN Racing that we have to split it among 2 servers. My name's Alex Everett, your commentator for this series, this lobby, and throughout the entire season. And it is a championship very, very similar to the British Touring Car Championship. We're using the same tracks, we're using the same format of races as well. We started off with a 15-minute qualifying session earlier, and then a 20-minute race. But we've also got another 2 20-minute races coming up a little bit later on. We have got a reverse grid draw as well after this race, so finishing within 6th and 12th in this next race overall is going to be crucial for getting a good reverse grid position. All dependent on luck though from that reverse grid draw. It's a fixed setup series as well, so it means that drivers will, the car they pick is the setup they have to drive. They're not allowed to tinker with anything, they're not allowed to change wing angle, tyre pressures, nothing like that. It is out of the box. The only thing they can change is brake bias, which helps with handling a little bit, but they've got just that at their disposal. But also what we have got for this series, and that is going to come into play in this race, is success ballast. So that is weight applied to the drivers' cars based on their success from the previous race or the previous round. And that's what we're going to have in this one. The top 10 in the Pro category will receive Success Ballast. The top 5 in Pro-Am will receive Success Ballast. And the top 3 in Am. These are classic TCR cars on iRacing. There's 4 different cars to choose from 3 different manufacturers. The Hyundai Elantra and the Hyundai Veloster, Audi RS3, and the Honda Civic Type R. And these are the tracks we're racing. And as I said, this is a series very similar to the British Touring Car Championship in that we're racing on the same tracks in aligned weeks to the British Touring Car Championship. So round 1 at Donington Park National Circuit took place in real life in the British Touring Car Championship on Sunday, and only a couple of days later we're here doing the same thing. It's a series aligned to that. And of course in server 1 we have British Touring Car Championship driver Mikey Doble in that server. So we'll see how he gets on tonight for me. Yesterday for you watching live the next day on this server. But the championship calendar is as follows. We're starting off today at Donington Park National Circuit, and then next week we're straight back into it. On the 6th of May, we're going to be racing at Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. Snetterton 300 will host round 3 of the championship, and round 4 will be at the fastest track on the calendar, Thruxton. Alton Park will host round 5 of the championship in Cheshire on the Island Circuit, and then round 6 will be at the Croft circuit, hopefully released on iRacing in the coming weeks. Knockhill in Scotland will host round 7 of the championship, with Donington Park we're returning there for round 8 of the championship. Silverstone in Northamptonshire/Buckinghamshire for round 9 of the championship, and then the final round in Kent will be Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, our second visit to the Brands Hatch facility, and the finale on the all-famous Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. If you scan the QR code on the lower right of our screen there, or you can click the Discord link in our description of this YouTube video, you can get involved in the Discord community at NXTGEN Racing. You can meet all the drivers, meet all the admins, and get involved in the races as a driver if you wish to. There are plenty of series on offer here at NXTGEN Racing, including this, the NXTCC. We've also got the GT3s on Thursdays, and there's also a Legends League on iRacing on offer. A big shout out should also go out to the partners, sponsors and affiliates of NXTGEN Racing that include PowerMax, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design, Falcon and PC, and the title sponsor of the series, Doble Motorcycles. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we've got race 2 coming up in just over a minute. And the grid for this race will be formed by the results we just saw of race 1, which is a race that from absolute before the start to the finish was drama all the way along. It was Wayne Douglas who was meant to be starting on pole position, but he did not make the start of the race for some reason or other. I was never able to find out what happened. So it was Jaworski who led away for the majority of the race until a back marker had spun in front of him and caused him severe front end damage and meant that he lost the lead in the race. Matthew Cheverton went on to win the race with a brilliant comeback in the second half of the race to jump up a lot of positions to take that win. It was a fantastic watch to see Cheverton win that race. So bad luck for Jaworski, but let's see what he can achieve in this second race here. He managed to get third in the end with a final lap incident between Mike Barber and Phil McDougall meant that it shuffled up the field on the very final lap, very final corner. But we must head into this second race of the night, and we're going to show you the grid for this next race of the night. And remember, it is formed from the results of race 1. We have got Matthew Cheverton on the front row of the grid, given that he won race 1, and alongside him will be Stephen Fry, who was first in the Pro-Am category in the previous race. Slavomir Jaworski will start third on the grid with Dylan Hunter in 4th position. Joseph Gibson will start 5th position with Ben Bennyworth alongside him on the 3rd row. Mark Kent will line up 7th, having won the AM category in the previous race, and alongside him will be Stanley Donaldson. Line up on the 5th row will be Phil McDougall and Mike Barber, who had that incident on the final lap, final corner of the previous race. They'll start on that 5th row. Piotr Jagoslewski will start on 11th position with Nigel Stock alongside in 12th, and 13th and 14th will line up Lewis Mason and Andy Oldhouse. Carl Thompson and Thomas Delaney will line up on the 8th row alongside each other, with 17th and 18th taken up by Roy Plummer and Dwayne Hoffman. Mark Hughes lines up 19th with Sean Dobie alongside, rounding off the top 20. And in 21st position will start Jeremy Nordstrom and Andy Chell on that 11th row, and the final row of the grid will be taken up by Jeff Nordstrom and Gabriel Yilmaz. That's our grid, and they were the results of race 1 of the night. There's our grid, standing starts for this, just like the British Touring Car Championship as we mentioned. And we've got the infamous clock above the start line there here at Donington Park, and the lights will eventually turn red when the drivers are ready to go and everyone is gridded up. There's just one more driver we're waiting for to grid up, and then we'll get on with the race. We'll see how much drama is going to wait for us in this race here. And we've got Wayne Douglas hasn't come back to this race either, so something must. Wayne Douglas is okay. Because it was meant to start pole position for the first race, but has not made race 1 or race 2. But here we go. We're about to get going for this second race of the night. Away we go. Cheverton on the left side and Stephen Fry on the right side. We're away for race 2 here at NXTGEN Racing. It's a brilliant start from Dylan Hunter. getting through the middle there. Also, Joseph Gibson on the inside there, and he might well end up in third position by the end of the first corner here. Brilliant start from Gibson, but it's Cheverton who leads us away at the front, heading out of Redgate. We've got Mike Bum making his way alongside Phil McDougall here, but up the front here, near the front, we've got Donaldson alongside with Jaworski, who gets himself into 5th place. He's dropped 2 places from the start. Not a good start. And we've got cars off in the background. Mike Barber, who had a bad end to the previous race, is off there. We've got loads of drivers off here. We may well get a safety car. That is Jagoslewski. We've also got Yilmaz off. We've also got Andy Chell off. And we'll see what happens, see if we get a safety car. But other drivers break away from this drama here. Cheverton leads from Fry, from Gibson, who had a brilliant start to this race. As we head into turn number 9 and 10 here.
Safety car, safety car, safety car.
And we do have a safety car, ladies and gentlemen. And drivers will have to slow down. And we'll follow the safety car for a few laps while things get cleaned up on the track. The marshals will get to work out there. And there we go. We can see the safety car. The Aston Martin safety car is going to bunch up the pack here. And while the marshals clean up the track with some of the cars who have left debris on the track, and some cars will have to be towed back to the pits as well. There's a couple of drivers who have made it back to pit lane. Mark Hughes, Jagoslewski, Sean Doby, and Andy Oldhouse, are in the pits. Oh, and a spin on the back straight there for Jeremy Nordstrom, going the wrong way down the track as well, which is not recommended in any form of motorsport, trying to get himself into the pits. But that was quite the start to the race. And we'll see. We'll go to the replays of that lap 1 at the end of the race, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't know how long we're going to be behind the safety car for here. But still in first spot is Matthew Cheverton, Stephen Fry in 2nd place. And something to bear in mind with these categories, ladies and gentlemen, I did fail to mention it in the first race, but none of these categories for these drivers are set in stone. So these drivers at this point, their category could change. Next week it could change the following round at round 3, but that would be the cut-off point after round 3. But these drivers have to treat it as if they're going for overall position here, because their categories can change. And the drivers swerving around here, they're allowed to do so. And they need to warm up their tyres. There's a driver in the pits there. That's Nigel Stock who's gone in the pits. And Nigel Stock may well have damage that he has to get sorted out. And this will drop into the back of the pack. We've got other drivers trying to catch up as well. That's Oldhouse there trying to catch back up with the pack. And we won't get extra laps here, ladies and gentlemen. What will be will what will be. These are laps down and less laps for drivers to try and get into the upper positions. And we'll see if we go racing at the end of this lap. We've got the prompt from the race director to say safety car. And of course, there is ballast on these cars, so some of these drivers have extra weight on their car, which will slow them down, which will affect their handling through the corners. So it's going to be harder for these drivers who finished in the top part of the field. That might have helped Gibson. He would have had less weight than other drivers around him, and that's why he gained 2 places at the start of that race. Getting to the inside of Hunter and Jaworski, going into Redgate. Brilliant start from Gibson. We'll have to watch it at the end of the race. Safety car continues for another lap. And it'll probably be because we've got Gabriel Yilmaz still trying to catch up with the pack. Oldhouse is also trying to catch up with the pack. But the majority... Oh, there was a car getting very sideways just then. I think that was Donaldson getting very sideways there on the straight.
Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap.
There we go. There's the call from the race director. Safety car will be in this lap, and we'll go racing again. 3 laps expired under the safety car here, but we'll get racing again. Now it's up to the leader to dictate the pace once the pace car paces off. And this will be the point the drivers are trying to get their tyres up to optimal temperature now. They would have cooled down, and they'll effectively have less than a lap to have to warm their tyres back up. That's why weaving here is quite crucial for the drivers. And Cheverton will lead them to the line to restart this race. The safety car blasts away. And Cheverton will decide the pace and when he will put his foot down to get going. Now when he does this is going to be interesting to see. And I think this is the point. Yep, there we go. Matthew Cheverton puts his foot down and we are away. Resuming this race 2 here at Donington Park. Into Redgate we go. It was actually quite a good time to restart there from Stephen Fry, as he's right on the rear of Matthew Cheverton heading around Redgate there. So we head down through Hollywood and the Craner Curves now. It wasn't such a good exit actually from Stephen Fry there, but we have got drivers off here. That's Thomas Delaney off the track at Redgate there, and he dropped a few places to 16th place overall. Good restart actually from Cheverton. It wasn't such a good entry into Redgate as Stephen Fry had a good reaction to him, but he was able to get a good exit from there and maintain his lead. First in the AM category at the moment, this is Mark Kent. Good start to this race, holding his position in this category. Lewis Mason is his nearest rival in second place in the AM category for the moment. This is the view from Cheverton, looking back to Stephen Fry. Not much movement across the field so far. It's split up quite a bit, particularly in the mid-pack there. Lewis Mason has dropped back a little bit from Phil McDougall, and Dwayne Hoffman here has got to hunt down for that top 10 spot. And of course, finishing in the top 15 will get you bigger points in this championship, because drivers will score points based on their category position, but will also score points for their overall position. So finishing in the top 15 is crucial, because points go across the top 15 in overall and in category. So it's crucial that you get into the upper positions in your category and overall. Pennyworth close to the rear of Mark Kent here. Kent having a good night so far, winner of the AM category in the first race. He's right on the back of Stanley Donaldson here, challenging for 6th place, but we've also got Ben Pennyworth. He dropped a few places at the start, here in 8th place. Piotr Jegieslewski getting past Mark Hughes there. But Mark Hughes is fighting back here and has the outside going towards the chicane. Is ahead, but who is going to back out of this? Neither of them going to. They're going to try and go through the chicane side by side. Bouncing across the chicane will go Mark Hughes, and that will be a slow down penalty. He'll have to serve that and will relinquish a few positions. We've also got Sean Doby and Thomas Delaney alongside each other heading into Redgate, but Mark Hughes hasn't served his slow down penalty yet, as into the corner they go. Thomas Delaney round the outside, trying to power it round the outside and get by Sean Doby. He does so. He's in front and he's in 16th position. Mark Hughes stays in front at the moment. He must have a slow down penalty and must have to serve it. But we'll see if he does. And this might be the moment he does so. Maybe not. But we'll come back to this battle very shortly. It's bunching up a little bit here. Stephen Fry is right on the rear of Cheverton. But we've also got Dylan Hunter right behind Joseph Gibson. But he takes a little bit of a slide there, heading out of Coppice Corner. And right on the back of him now is Jaworski. Inside, going into the chicane, trying to challenge him was Dylan Hunter. But late on the brakes goes Jaworski and through into 4th place. Just a little bit of a slide for Dylan Hunter there. Dropped him off and down a place. But meanwhile, Stephen Fry here right on the rear of Cheverton as they head through Redgate. Cheverton had a brilliant second half of the first race to gain himself the win in that first race and therefore taking maximum points. Let's see what he can achieve here with a bit more weight on his car, which will not be helping. Phil McDougall was in a good position in the previous race, but him and Mike Barber came together at the end of the race, the previous race, and sent him down a few positions. They're making up a little bit here. Phil McDougall is in the same place where he started, 9th place. Down the straight we go. And these drivers, actually, to be fair to them, have had plenty of practice over the years here in this Next Gen series of riding with success ballast on their car. And it does mean that they'll know how the car is going to behave in certain scenarios. As we see side by side between Bennyworth and Donaldson. Bennyworth is through and in front. Gains into 6th position. Fry is back and forth with Cheverton here. He gains on him, then he drops off a little bit. Gains on him, then he drops off a little bit. But if he can string together a couple of really good corners, he can do it with Cheverton. He can get past him and make battle. Big gap between 9th place and 10th place, 5-second gap. So this is very much a battle amongst the top 9 at the moment. There's a bit of a gap between 5th and 6th. Bennyworth trying to catch up to Dylan Hunter. And I imagine if the top 5 starts scuffling a little bit, Bennyworth will be invited into said battle. No, I got it wrong in the first race. Bennyworth is actually in the Pro category, not the Pro-Am category. So 3rd place in category for Bennyworth at the moment, but top of the category and top of the overall order, Cheverton here, hanging on really well from Stephen Fry at the moment, as we see Jaworski getting out of the slipstream, heading out of the old hairpin, and he's going to try to the inside, going into McLean's corner. He does get to the inside, giving him room is Gibson. And he'll have the inside. Will Jaworski heading into the next corner. A bit off the track there goes Gibson. Now we head into Coppice corner. It's definitely the better line for Jaworski here. But Gibson is going to be keen to keep hold of 4th place here and not let Dylan Hunter behind get alongside him, which he successfully did. And actually, he's still challenging alongside Jaworski heading into the chicane. He backs off and tries to tuck in behind because that is the better line to have through this corner, particularly when you're following someone else. He is in 4th place now. Jaworski into 2nd place in category. 3rd place on the road. That is where he finished in the previous race. We see a big lunge to the inside from Dylan Hunter. Into 4th place he goes. That's an excellent move from him. And Bennyworth's joining in here. Sneaks to the inside as we head towards Hollywood here. Joseph is potentially going to lose 4 places here within half a lap. And it's purely been other drivers really taking opportunistic moves around him. And through goes Bennyworth into 5th place. Great move from Dylan Hunter. And to help Bennyworth out, he sneaks past as well. But that scuffling there helped Jaworski stretch away a little bit. And now he can focus on trying to catch up with Cheverton and Fry up ahead. Jaworski was quicker in practice, quicker in qualifying. Arguably quicker in the race because he ended up extending his lead out. Oh, as we see, Joseph Gibson is struggling as well. He's dropped another position to Donaldson, and he's being contested with McDougall here. McDougall later on the brakes. They will try and go through side by side. I don't know if McDougall was valid through that corner there. But look at that undercut there from Mark Kent as he takes to the left side. 3 wide as we head across the line here to start the next lap as we head towards Redgate corner. Who's going to be first into Redgate? I think it's McDougall. He's very late on the brakes going into Redgate and through. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not through. It's still side by side between all three. And tucking back in behind is Mark Kent. But Gibson's challenging back as he's got the inside now through Hollywood. Outside for Crane and Curse, but it'd be the inside for the old hairpin. But McDougall's later on the brakes, and you can see he drifted it sideways to make sure he stayed ahead, but he goes off the track there. Mark Kent looking around as well, trying to get back past Gibson, but he's got the run here on McDougall. Now the inside going into McLean's corner. But McDougall is so late on the brakes that he's challenging Gibson on every corner here. But for the inside here at Coppice corner, it's got to be said. Oh no, he's run off wide. McDougall gets the undercut and back past. Too late on the brakes was Joseph Gibson there, and it allows through Mark Kent. It's not been a good few laps here for Gibson, but great battling between those three drivers. Back towards the front, Fry still between 3 and 4 tenths behind Cheverton and Jaworski. Fastest lap of the race on that last lap. And half a second quicker than P1, to which Fry is a little bit closer heading out of Redgate corner here. Into the old hairpin we go. That's Jaworski behind, quite a gap still, but with 4 or technically 3.5 laps to go in this race. Stephen Fry has got to try and do something to challenge Cheverton in front, but challenging Cheverton in front is going to invite Jaworski and potentially Dylan Hunter into the battle. So they've got to be very, very careful here how hard they battle, and maybe that's why they'll probably leave it till later in the race. Other battles that are going on the track. The closest battle actually seems to be over here, and this is a battle headed by McDougall from Mark Kent, Joseph Gibson and Mike Barber, who's caught up to the rear of Gibson, challenging the outside, swaps to the inside. Not late enough on the brakes going into Redgate though. Gibson is able to keep it ahead, but he overshoots it, and a bit of contact between the two, and I think Mike Barber backed out as a result of that contact, which is a gentleman move to stay behind. As we watch on towards the front, it is getting closer between these three. 6 to 7 tenths of a second between them. Three tenths between each of them, either side. And we've got 2 laps to go at the completion of this one. Cheverton at the front, looking to make it 2 wins from 2. And that might have been a bit of a scuffed exit there, because there was the back marker on the inside there, peeling off to the pits. And I think Cheverton had to ease off the throttle just a little bit there as Fry takes to the outside. Jaworski now goes back to the inside to get it alongside Stephen Fry heading around Redgate. And he does. He might have made it through here as they head down through Hollywood. Yes, into second place goes Jaworski past Stephen Fry. Now is a challenge between Jaworski and Cheverton. Jaworski will feel that first place should have been his in the race 1. And this will be his redemption song here if he can get it. Let's see if Fry can rejoin in the battle here. But it's going to be very much between these two, I think, from here on. Just a lap and a bit to go for Cheverton. He's going to have to really watch his mirrors whilst powering through these corners to try and complete the double here. It's going to be a reverse grid, so it means that Cheverton will have to do all the work again in the next race. He's guarding the inside. He fears Jaworski's going to go for something, and he's much later on the brakes on the outside is Jaworski. But he's not able to complete the move there. It's hard to overtake around the outside at the chicane there. Final lap. Guarding the inside. Back over to the racing line goes Cheverton. Stephen Fry's close as well. 3 different teams battling. Down to the old hairpin. Jaworski, I thought he was going to try and move to the inside there, but I think he's waiting for a move at McLean's. This is going to be the moment, if it's going to be. Look how close Jaworski is. He's to the left side of Cheverton. Cheverton forced him to that left side, but is he later on the brakes? No, he's not. Cheverton's got the better line. Stephen Fry's probably eyes wide open here as the gap on the right was opening up there, but he wasn't able to get his car alongside quick enough. Here's Cheverton guarding inside for Coppice Corner. You've got to say at this point that Cheverton has got the advantage for this win here. But the run down to the chicane is crucial here. He guards the inside. Dylan Hunter's joined in as well. He's challenging Stephen Fry for 3rd place now. To the outside, going into the chicane goes Jaworski. His nose is in front as they go through the chicane. But powering through the chicane goes Cheverton with a brilliant final chicane there to secure the win in this 2nd race here at Donington Park. Cheverton's your race winner. Top 3, Cheverton, Jaworski and Fry winning the Pro-Am category provisionally here. And winning the Am category 2 from 2 like Matthew Cheverton. But in the Am category is for Mark Kent, 8th place for him. And rounding off the top 12 would be Lewis Mason. So it means he gets within potential for the reverse grid draw. What a race we witnessed there. And biggest mover of the grid in that race was Gabriel Yilmaz, who crosses the line. He gained 7 places from the start there overall. But Cheverton, 2 from 2. Brilliant defending on that final lap there. And Jaworski's late braking is something to really keep an eye on here in this championship, because he did it twice going into that chicane. But Cheverton was able to get off the brakes and power it through the chicane to stay ahead in 1st place for the final 2 laps there. But let's head over to the race results here. And these are our overall race results. Matthew Cheverton takes the win. That's 2 from 2 for him. And Jaworski in 2nd place. 1 place above where he started and where he finished in race 1. Stephen Fry takes 3rd position with Dylan Hunter in 4th position. And in 5th position will be Ben Bennyworth. Stanley Donaldson in 6th position from Phil McDougall in 7th, up a few places from where he started. And Mark Kent winning the Am category in 8th position there. Joseph Gibson in 9th place with Mike Barber rounding off the top 10. Carl Thompson in 11th position. And Lewis Mason is last of the positions that are potential for the reverse grid draw for race 3. Thomas Delaney in 13th position from Andy Oldhouse in 14th. With Sean Doby in 15th. Piotr Jagalewski in 16th position, from Gabriel Yilmaz in 17th, and non-finishers or lap down were Dwayne Hoffman, Andy Chell and Jeremy Nordstrom. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, that was race 2 results for you, but we are just going to take a look to the category results as they stand tonight. These categories might change, but it's worth keeping an eye on them as well. Cheverton takes the win from Jaworski and Bennyworth. The top 3 for pros. Top 3 for Pro-Ams were Stephen Fry, who got 3rd overall, Dylan Hunter just behind in 2nd in category, and Stanley Donaldson in 3rd. And in the Am category, it's Mark Kent in the top spot. 2nd and 3rd was Lewis Mason and Thomas Delaney. But we have got the reverse grid draw to test for the first time on this stream, and it's going to be done by traditional spin the wheel, because unlike Paul Walsh, I don't have a bowl of balls to pick out from like what they do in the BTCC, like what Paul does. But we have the good old-fashioned spin the wheel here. We've got 6 options on here. The reverse grid, we've got more than that. We've got 7 options. We've got 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So, what's it going to be? We're going to spin the wheel and find out what our first reverse grid draw is going to be of the season. I think it's... yeah, there we go. 6 is our first number for our reverse grid draw of the season. So that actually means that lining up On the front row of the grid is going to be Stanley Donaldson on the pole position, with Bennyworth in second position, Dylan Hunter in third position, Stephen Fry in fourth, Jaworski in fifth, and Cheverton will line up in the sixth position. We're going to be going away for a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, and when we come back, it's going to be race 3 of the night. A reverse grid of 6 from those results in race 2. Our third race of the night is going to be a 20-minute race to conclude the night. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
your wings, I told the devil.
Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Donington Park, nearing sunset here for this opening round of the championship for the Next Gen Racing NXTCC Season 9 Blue Lobby, and this is round 1 at the Donington Park National Circuit, as we mentioned. We've got race 3 coming up for us very, very shortly, but a little bit about the series before we carry on going into the night. This is Season 9 of Next Gen Racing. It is a series very much alike the British Touring Car Championship, the same tracks and run just a few days after the real-life events take place. Tuesday nights are when these drivers are racing, but this particular broadcast goes out on Wednesday nights. Of course, the Orange Lobby will go out live on the Tuesday night, presented by Paul Walsh, but these Blue Lobby races presented by myself, Alex Everett, as Crest Autosport will be going out on the Wednesday nights. A shout out to the partner sponsors and affiliates at Next Gen Racing that help run this massive show here. One of the biggest touring car leagues in the world, it's got to be said. PowerMax Racing, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsport UK, Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design, Falcon and PC, Builds and Support, and Doble Motorcycles, the lead sponsor for this championship. As we mentioned, this is a series that follows the same calendar as the British Touring Car Championship on the week after the real life event takes place. So on Sunday was Donington Park National, and we're here today only a couple of days later racing at the same circuit here on iRacing. Next week we're off to Brands Hatch Indy Circuit for round 2 of the championship, and then on the 20th of May we'll be heading over to Snetterton 300 Circuit for the 3rd round. 4th round will take place at the fastest track on the calendar, Thruxton Circuit, and then up to Cheshire for Alton Park Island Circuit. Round 6 of the championship will take place on the soon, hopefully to be released on iRacing, Croft Circuit, and then up to Scotland for Knockhill, round 7 of the championship. Round 8, we're back here at Donington Park, but the Grand Prix Circuit for the 8th round of the championship, and the penultimate round of the championship will be hosted at the Silverstone Racing Circuit, the national layout of that circuit. And the final round, of course, is going to be hosted at Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit on the 30th of September to finish the season in quite a lot of months' time. Got a big, long journey from here until there. And so far tonight, it has been a thrilling watch. Plenty of actions all along the field. And I have to apologise at this point, ladies and gentlemen, because we went for a quick break right after the spin the wheel, and we should have gone and looked at some replays of race 2. So I do apologise for that. I won't make that mistake again for the future races, but just getting used to this format, yeah. But yeah, let's see if there's plenty more action here. We did see a safety car in race 2 due to a big incident at lap 1. A lot of cars had to go to the pits to get fast repairs, a lot of retirements as well, but it bunched up the field, and it meant we did have a few less laps of racing, but it made things a little bit more frantic, I thought. But the top battle from that race 2 was between Matthew Cheverton, who has taken double wins tonight, him from Slavomir Jaworski, battling it out for the top spot. Included in that, Stephen Fry was also looking for that top spot as well, just like 4th place position Dylan Hunter was as well. He joined in that battle late on and did try for 3rd place in the final lap, but couldn't quite complete it in the end. So we got a 20-minute race coming up very, very shortly. And we had a reverse grid draw of 6. That was our reverse grid draw. And it means that Stanley Donaldson will be our pole sitter. Of course, we'll go through the grid for the race coming up very, very shortly before the race starts. But he is our pole sitter, is Stanley Donaldson. And of course, there is success ballast as well. So after each race, drivers will receive weight on their cars to slow them down effectively and affect the handling of the corners. The top 10 in the Pro category will receive success ballast, likewise with the top 5 in the Pro-Am category, and the top 3 from the AM category. And the categories of the drivers will change in these first 3 rounds of the season, and then from round 3 onwards, after round 3 onwards, should I say, the categories are locked in. So anything can change, and you might see drivers like Stephen Fry might be put up to Pro category for next week. So we really should go on overall results for the moment. But what is also on offer for these drivers is bonus points in the form of getting pole position earlier on in qualifying, but also in each race getting fastest lap, leading a lap of the race, and also gaining the most places in your category. So live action on the track. Practice is upon us here, preparing for race 3 of the night. We're just less than a minute away. And a reverse grid of 6. We like the bigger reverse grids here in touring car racing as an audience, don't we? But it's going to be interesting to see how much Jaworski and Cheverton can claw their way through. Of course, Cheverton had not such a good start to the first race of the night, but he broke through to eventually win that race in race 1. He defended it in race 2, but it's been Jaworski who's had to work the hardest in overtaking people in race 2 to get to the near top. of that last race. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins this next race. Who am I going to put my prediction on to win this next race? I'm going to go for Jaworski to win this race. So let's see. Commentator's curse or just just friendly predictions? Not too sure. We'll find out. But we're about to start this next race of the night, and the grid for race 3 of the night will be as follows. Starting on pole position will be Stanley Donaldson in the Audi, and alongside him, his teammate Ben Bennyworth lines up second. Dylan Hunter, with a good race 2 there, will line up third on the grid, and alongside him would be Stephen Fry. Jaworski will start 5th on the grid. Alongside him will be race 2 and race 1 winner Matthew Cheverton. Starting 7th and 8th will be Phil McDougall with Mark Kent, winner of both races in the AM category so far tonight. Joseph Gibson lines up 9th, and alongside him on the front, on the 5th row will be Mike Barber. Carl Thompson starts 11th with Lewis Mason in 12th. Thomas Delaney in 13th, with alongside him will be Andy Oldhouse. Sean Doby will start 15th, and alongside him on the 8th row will be Gabriel Yilmaz. 17th and 18th will be Dwayne Hoffman of Full Tilt Motorsport, and of Quatermass Motorsport will be Andy Chell. Jeremy Nordstrom lines up 19th with Nigel Stock alongside in 20th, and the final row of the grid will be Mark Hughes and Roy Plummer. So that's our grid for the 3rd race of the night. We'll be getting away very, very shortly. The 2 Quatermass drivers at the front, so they will potentially be working together to make sure they get the best result for their team, for themselves. But Ben Bennyworth there in the pro category alongside as well. He'll be keen to get himself to the top spot and get additional points on his rivals, Jaworski and Cheverton, who start back on that 3rd row. And the drivers will wait for the marshal to give us the all clear to get going. We are waiting for a few drivers to grid up still. And I think we've got about 10 seconds before the marshal will give us the signal to get ready for the start of this race. A standing start, as we mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, and a 16-lap race awaits us. Here we go. Drivers are on the accelerator, ready to go here for the 3rd race of round 1 here at Donington Park. We're away. Oh, and it's a bad start, and someone has stalled in the middle there, and there's debris off in the middle of the track there, and drivers swerving around to avoid. But up towards turn number 1 we go, and it is Stanley Donaldson leading our way into turn number 1. It's a brilliant start from Jaworski, who's up to 3rd place already. He's alongside Dylan Hunter as we head out of Redgate and through Hollywood for this first lap of the race. Brilliant start for him. Phil McDougall and Thomas Delaney have had dramas at the start there. We'll see if we can check their replay later on, I promise. We'll go back to that a little bit later on. Stephen Fry down to 5th place from the start there. Not such a good start for him. And Cheverton maintains his place of 6th place for the moment. But look at Jaworski's to the inside of the Quatermass car of Ben Bennyworth already. Look at this. And off the track goes Ben Bennyworth. He had no choice but to go off there. There was a Jaworski-sized car right to the right of him. And Dylan Hunter sneaking through into 3rd place there, reaping the benefits of the slowed down Bennyworth from the off-track there into 3rd place. He's taking some very opportunistic moves, is Hunter, so far tonight. It's been brilliant progress from him. But him versus Bennyworth going into the chicane. Hunter is the first of them through. But Donaldson, pole position, but leads at the end of lap 1 here. And he's got a dogfight on his hands here with Jaworski here from lap 2 onwards. Side by side between Stephen Fry and Ben Bennyworth. But now Cheverton's diving to the inside. One of his specialties is that late lunge to the inside, late braking move. But he couldn't quite convert it past Stephen Fry just yet. Back here we got Mark Kent versus Lewis Mason. That is a battle in the AM category at the moment. 7th and 8th on the road. So we'll see if Mark Kent can make it 3 in a row. Likewise with Cheverton. But Lewis Mason is right behind Kent here as we see a car off on the side there. I think that was Yilmaz who went off there. But Andy Chell's powering it past into 12th place. Oh, and there's contact between the two. And Chell can't keep hold of it. Off the track he goes. And he's into the tyres. And he was looking good in 12th position for him. But it has come undone for him already. This is what happened to Andy Child just then. Wide there goes Yilmaz. And as we head up to McLean's corner, we'll see what happens between the two. Oh, it might have been a bit of net code there, actually, which is non-contact, but iRacing thinks it's contact. And nowhere to go was, I think that was Old House, who was to the left of him. He had nowhere to go either. Oh, we've already got a change for the race win. We have missed the move, but we'll go to a replay of it. Jaworski takes the lead of this race. And here it is, heading out of Coppice Corner while we were watching the replay of Andy Chell. Gets to the outside, and is it the special late braking manoeuvre we saw Jaworski try in the previous races, but he's made it work this time by the looks of it. Yes, he has. Donaldson backed off a little bit there, but through goes Jaworski into the lead of the race. Cheverton's up to 5th place. Race 1 and Race 2 winner so far. Trying the inside of Stephen Fry going into McLean's corner. Contact between the two. And Bennyworth's going to try and sneak it back up the inside as we head up to Coppice Corner. But Stephen Fry is bogged down a little bit as Mark Kent is alongside him, challenging into Coppice Corner. Side by side still between Bennyworth and Cheverton as we head out of Coppice Corner. And they've dropped back a little bit from the top 3 here as a result of that. But Bennyworth might stay in front of Cheverton unless Cheverton could try the late break move. He can't. Bennyworth stays in front. But Cheverton's going to try on the exit and towards Redgate here. Stephen Fry's dropped back to 7th place here. Bennyworth guarding the inside from Cheverton, who's going to want to get himself past these cars and try and catch up with Jaworski quickly. Or try and catch up with 3rd and 2nd at least. We need to mention more about Dylan Hunter tonight. He's been fantastic tonight. 3rd place at the moment and nearing the top 3 in the previous race as well. He's challenging for 2nd place right now with Stanley Donaldson, and they're both currently in Pro-Am category. So this is battle for victory in that category. Now we might go back and see that incident with Stephen Fry. This is what happened a lap ago with that incident between Stephen Fry and Cheverton. Cheverton's to the inside, and they're not allowing much room for each other, really. And that is how that ended up being, how it's ended up now. Oh, and I think Cheverton's just gone a little bit wide there. Bennyworth is back through. Oh, and there's another driver off wide there. That's Mike Barber, and he's going to relinquish a few positions, kicking up dirt, grass and dust to the other drivers. And through goes Mason. And look at this bunch up here. Nigel Stock's on the outside here of Sean Dobie, trying to make up places. He had a disastrous night. Qualifying was good for Nigel Stock, but the rest of the night has just been horrible for him. And he's trying to make up some places now to claim back some points in this opening round here. Sean Dobie going to try the inside of Carl Thompson, but doesn't quite make it. Not late enough on the brakes. Nigel Stock, can he power it on the exit to get it to the right side of Sean Dobie heading up the hill? He can't do that. But we've got Barber versus Mason up here. Mason's got the inside. He's back in front. And he gets it back on the racing line right in front of Mike Barber heading up to Coppice. Barber tried the inside, but he wasn't late enough on the brakes. We've also got Thompson here right ahead of Sean Dobie as well. Jaworski is romping away with this. 4 seconds clear already on lap 6 of this race. And he's already into the 1:11 lap time, setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Now you've got these two battling, potentially Donaldson and Hunter. Hunter is the hunter in this scenario, and Bennyworth guarding his 4th position from Cheverton at the moment. Still side by side action between Barber and Mason going through Redgate, and also back here we have got Sean Dobie, Nigel Stock and Carl Thompson. This is the view from Carl Thompson. Powering it through the exit of the old hairpin there. And it's such a crucial corner to get a good exit from that corner to get the best on your opponents. Oh, and there's a bit of smoke up ahead of us there. I think it might have been a bit of sideways action from a driver, or maybe gone wide. Someone did definitely go wide just then through that corner. We've got Roy Plummer on the inside there of Nordstrom, and Hoffman trying to make his way past Jeremy Nordstrom as well. And they're both through into 14th and 15th. They're both into the points. This is the battle for 10th position. Thompson heading it at the moment from Dobie and Nigel Stock. And it is quite close, actually, from 2nd to 7th. They're all within about 7/10 of each other. This is Donaldson looking back. He was pole sitter for this race due to getting the 6th place in the previous race and getting the reverse grid draw. So a high position here is potent for him. He's going to have potentially a big battle with the competitors behind him as Yilmaz and Stock come together, and Yilmaz is off the track. Oh, and he might have got away with that. You know, a little bit of damage potentially on that left side. But let's just find out what happened between Yilmaz and Nigel Stock there. They were side by side heading into McLean's, and it's a bad exit from Nigel Stock, a good exit from Yilmaz. It's quite hard to tell. It did look like Yilmaz drifted right a little bit. But we are seeing a lot of cars struggle to go side by side going into McLean's corner as we go back to the top two action, second place battle. Donaldson's dropped back a few places here. We'll have to check out that replay. But he's dropped to Hunter, Bennyworth and Cheverton all within a corner here as Cheverton looks to complete the move, and he has. Now let's see what Hunter, Bennyworth and Cheverton can conjure up for us. We'll stick with this for now to see if anything materialises heading into McLean's here. Bennyworth might look to the inside. No, he doesn't. He backs out of it, and Cheverton is still finishing off that move against Donaldson. That's the thing with Donington Park. You have to finish off your moves over a couple of corners here. Now let's have a quick replay of what happened to Donaldson there. Heading up towards Redgate. On board with him here. Oh, I think he just outbroke himself a little bit. And that allowed Hunter through. And we rejoin that battle for 2nd place. Jaworski is near 8 seconds clear already, so a nice easy race for him at the moment. Of course, we saw similar to that in race 1, but that came undone when a back marker spun in front of him and caused him heavy front end damage and suspension damage, meaning he lost a lot of places. He recovered to 3rd place, but it did compromise his race win. So I doubt that's going to happen again tonight, touch wood. But for now, we're going to watch this battle for 2nd place. It's so close between these three heading out of the old hairpin. Bennyworth is trying the left side of Hunter as we head up to McLean's. Not going to make it, but Cheverton has powered it around the outside of Bennyworth and has put it to the inside at McLean's. Brilliant move from Cheverton. Fantastic driving from him tonight. And he might, well, despite not being able to get the triple tonight, he will definitely try to get 1, 1 and 2. Looking back from Dylan Hunter's Hyundai Veloster here, we've got Cheverton in the Honda right behind him, who's definitely been in the headlines tonight when it comes to race wins. Big damage on the back of Stanley Donaldson's car there. I wonder if that was actually from that incident that happened earlier on with Dylan Hunter passing him. I wonder if there was actually a little bit of contact. In fact, we will just check it. This is the view from Dylan Hunter's car. No, there is damage already on Donaldson's car, so I'm not entirely sure how it actually happened. Oh, there we go. It might have been caused by that. So, yeah, Dylan Hunter might get a little bit of trouble with the stewards later. I don't know what the procedure is. As we're seeing, Cheverton into 2nd place there, and Bennyworth getting into 3rd place. So this happens out of the old hairpin. Oh, you can see he gets it on the curb to take a very late apex to Cheverton, and Hunter washes it out wide. And as a result, Cheverton's able to get by before even the next braking zone, and Bennyworth can complete it here. So a big mistake there from Hunter. Costs him a little bit, but he might be able to fight back here. Mason in the AM category. Now he's a long way back from Mark Kent, who is up here. Oh, actually, I think we've had an off back there between Roy Plummer and one of the Audi drivers. That might be Mark Hughes. And look at all this scuffle now. All the drivers swerving around to avoid each other. But heading into turn number 1, we've got Mark Hughes at the head of them, and Jeremy Nordstrom. We haven't mentioned him much tonight. He's in 13th place here. And these drivers are squabbling to keep themselves in the points, because 15th here is Roy Plummer in the orange chrome livery, next gen livery, and he's in the point spots in the overall. Dwayne Hoffman trying to get himself up there and get himself back into points contention. That's a back marker there slowing down. I think that's Andy Oldhouse there. Back to the top 2 and 3. Cheverton versus Bennyworth. Like I said earlier on, these two had a brilliant battle in the silver category in the Proto GT3 League 2 seasons ago on Thursday night at Next Gen Racing. And it might well be more battles between them in this series right here. Lewis Mason. Oh, and Carl Thompson there, and it's very nearly heavy side-to-side contact there between the two. But Thompson holds the inside, heading through Redgate there, and as we head down to Hollywood, he holds 9th place now. And it might invite Sean Doby in to contend in this battle, as they've stretched away from Mark Hughes, who is stretching away from Nigel Stock. But he'll definitely want more points from what a night that's looked pretty good from the start from qualifying. Hasn't quite worked out that way for him in the races. Jaworski will be relieved that in this race he's picked up more points, but he definitely will feel that race 1 should have been his. But Cheverton's in a very good place right now with such a big haul of points out of tonight with the way things stand right now in this 3rd race. Dylan Hunter's had a good night as well, probably been the along with Stephen Fry, the top Pro-Am driver. Stephen Am's probably been the top Pro-Am driver as he's looking to get alongside Donaldson. He is alongside. Will he have enough power out of Redgate? He's still alongside the Quettermass driver. Squeezing it to the inside. And he can't keep it to the outside for the late braking into the old hairpin. He'll have to try again in another corner, but he's got Mike Barber to worry about as well, right there. And that looks like Mark Kent trying to join in as well. First of the AM category. Representing Full Tilt Racing is Mark Kent. No move from Barber to the inside of Fry, going into Coppice there. This battle rages on between Cheverton and Bennyworth. Side by side between Thompson and Mason heading out of Coppice Corner. These two have been inseparable for a few laps now. Close to contact there going down the straight. Oh, and backing off quite early there was Carl Thompson. Not sure why that was. Oh, he might have cut the chicane a little bit there as well, as we see a swap of positions. Barber was past Stephen Fry there for a second, but he outbroke himself and Fry's back through, and Barber only just about hung on to 7th place from Mark Kent there, who has now joined this party. And we've also got Carl Thompson. He's dropping a few places here. I wonder if something's happened to him. He's really dropping places. Stock's past him and Doby's past him. And he might well be in trouble to keep himself within the points at the moment. Nigel Stock has the opportunity here, though, to get himself some better positions. He is within touching distance of 2nd place in AM category here. Lewis Mason has put in a good shift tonight to get, I think it's 3 consecutive 2nd place finishes as it stands. But this is the closest a lot of these AM drivers have been tonight. So it could well be a good battle on the cards here in these final 2 laps here, as Jaworski has already started his penultimate lap. Back to this AM category battle. It's real close. Oh, did we see a driver head off? No, I thought we saw a driver head off into the pits there. Not quite. As we're ducking out is Mark Hughes to the outside of Lewis Mason, and he's through. I think Lewis Mason had a slowdown penalty to serve there, but that puts him down to third place in category, and Mark Hughes up to second. Sean Dobie's going to challenge now for that third spot in category. He's also got Nigel Stock to worry about right behind him as well, as Stock was trying to challenge him. It's the old hairpin. He gets the undercut heading out of the corner, and he'll have the inside for McLean's. In fact, he might complete the corner before then, and Nigel Stock will have another lap to try and get himself on the podium in the AM category here. Jaworski will start his final lap here at Donington Park. A win that probably could have come at race 1, but we got side by side between Bennyworth and Cheverton. Contact coming out of the corner there, and Dylan Hunter joins in to make it 3 wide, heading across the line underneath the white flag of the gantry there to signal the final lap. Bennyworth is in front of the bunch, and Hunter tries to tuck in behind. Cheverton tries to tuck in behind, but Bennyworth is first of them, battling for second place, but a good exit there from Cheverton. He's got it back alongside Bennyworth already. Into the old hairpin. Cheverton's back in front. Now Bennyworth realistically only has 2, maybe 3 more opportunities to make a move for second place here. To the outside he goes. Later on the brakes than Cheverton. He holds it round the outside, but he really isn't in the best place to make this move stick. But let's see. He's tried his desperate most to keep the move on, but Cheverton's got it back in front. Unless this is a good exit from Bennyworth, but he's got Hunter alongside, who's going to challenge to the inside going into the chicane, but we must switch to our winner. Jaworski wins the pro category in the third race of the night here. Oh, and contact between Hunter and Bennyworth to go through the chicane there. It's Cheverton who's going to come through second, but third place is going to be Dylan Hunter on the final corner there. And he wins the Pro-Am category as well. Mark Kent will come through first of the AM category and 8th on the road. And our top 3 round off for the AM category with Mark Hughes and Lewis Mason. But our race winner for tonight, breaking the streak of Cheverton, is Jaworski. Brilliant racing yet again in this third race of the night. Quite dark here at Donington Park now, and once these drivers are in, the marshals can pack up and go home, and the drivers and teams can celebrate their successes, if indeed they've had any successes tonight. There'll be some drivers who might be a little bit disappointed with their performances tonight, but there's plenty of rounds to go in this championship. As you can see here, we have got Brands Hatch next week, an opportunity for the drivers to continue successes or redeem themselves. But here are the results of race 3 tonight. Jaworski wins the race from Cheverton in second position, who gets 1, 1 and 2 tonight, which is really impressive. Dylan Hunter in third position from Ben Bennyworth in fourth position. Stanley Donaldson in fifth. Mike Barber in sixth position from Stephen Fry in seventh. And Mark Kent top of the AM category in 8th. Mark Hughes 9th from Lewis Mason. Nigel Stock in 11th with Sean Dobie in 12th. Carl Thompson 13th. Phil McDougall in 14th. Jeremy Nordstrom in 15th. Dwayne Hoffman in 16th. Roy Plummer 17th. Gabriel Yilmaz 18th. And rounding off the top 20 is Thomas Delaney and Joseph Gibson. Andy Chell 21st, and 22nd is Andy Aldhouse. For the pro category, the top 3 in that category in this race were Jaworski from Cheverton and Bennyworth. The top 3 in the Pro-Am category was Dylan Hunter from Stanley Donaldson and Stephen Fry. And AM category, Mark Kent with 3 in a row tonight. And Mark Hughes in second and Lewis Mason in third. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That has been all 3 races tonight, but we are going to have some interviews. Hopefully we get to have a chat with Matthew Cheverton. He's been the driver who scored the most points tonight. And I'm just seeing that Tom Delaney had to take a pit start in that final race, actually, as the he couldn't quite get to the grid in time, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a shame for him, and that's why he finished down in 19th in that race. But before we go to our interviews, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at what's up next. That has been the first round of the championship, the first 3 races of the championship, 27 to go. And we have got next up is Brands Hatch Indy in 1 week from today. And like we mentioned, all across the night, Tuesday nights are streamed by Paul Walsh on Next Gen Racing YouTube and Facebook, and that is the orange lobby, and these blue lobbies will be streamed on the Wednesday nights. And if you want to get involved in the racing, ladies and gentlemen, you still can. Entries are still open to get involved in these races, in these sessions, and it's likely you'll end up in the blue lobby here, but you can get involved. The prices are in the top right, and if you scan the QR code for Discord, you can get involved in the racing in our Discord community here at Next Gen Racing. You can also click the link in the description to also get access to our Discord server. So we have got our first driver we can have an interview with. We'll probably get more interviews with other drivers a little bit later on. But we're going to start off with a driver who has had a fair few top 3s tonight. We're going to start off with talking to Lewis Mason from the AM category representing Aztec Racing. So, Lewis, first of all, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Great, good stuff. Right, okay, Lewis, welcome to the comms booth for the first time this season. You're the very first interviewee. But, yeah, I'd say you've had a pretty good night tonight. I think you've had 3 top 3 finishes in AM category for the moment, albeit categories might change. But I would say a good night for you. Would you agree?
Yeah, last season I thought was really well with how I started. I got 2 podiums last season, so to get 3 this season is just even better.
Excellent stuff. And we saw quite a battle between yourself and Mark Hughes there towards the end of the race there. Just talk us through how that was, and particularly that you might have had a little bit more weight on the car as well. How was the battling out there tonight with weight to consider as well?
Yeah, the weight on the older tyres there at the end of the race is very difficult. So literally the final part of that race, going through the final chicane, trying to get the rear end to rotate, it'd slip a bit too much, and then when you're trying to correct it, it just ruins you run onto the main straight. So it happened a couple of times because I did have a good gap to the guys behind, but then that just kind of ruined it.
Ah, okay. And what are your targets and expectations for yourself this season? Now, we don't know exactly what category everyone is going to be in so far, but let's assume you're in AM category for now. What are your expectations for yourself this season?
Well, last season I came 3rd in AM and could have maybe came 2nd. So I'm hoping to either come 2nd or 1st this season, but there's no point setting your expectations too high until maybe the midpoint of the season. Yeah,
exactly. And how are things in the Aztec racing camp at the moment? Because yourself, you've had a pretty good night. Cheverton's had a really good night.
Yeah, it's going really good. Matt's really happy with where he's finished so far, and obviously me with my results as well. It's been very good.
Excellent stuff. What about Brands Hatch next week? Is that a track you particularly enjoy?
I went to Brands Hatch for the last round of the touring cars last season, and it was quite fun being there. And it's a track that I enjoy on this simulation. So I'm hoping to do well, but we'll find out.
Great stuff. So, AM category for now, Lewis Mason, and I believe there's 2 second places and a 3rd place. Am I right, Lewis?
Yeah.
Okay.
3rd race 1, 2nd race 2, 3rd race 3.
Okay. There we go. So a good set of results tonight, Lewis. Well done tonight. The floor is yours. Give a shout out to anyone who might be watching tonight.
Obviously all the sponsors, Claremont and everything, big thanks to them, because without them things like this wouldn't happen. Also teammates Matt and Gabriel for helping with like learning tracks and stuff. We all like share information, so if we find something that works, we'll share it. And yeah, just that pretty much.
Brilliant stuff. Lewis, thanks for joining us tonight. Good luck next week. Thank you for the entertaining racing tonight.
Yep, thank you very much, mate.
There we go, Lewis Mason with a good haul of results tonight, a good haul of points for the AM category. So next up, we're going to have a little chat to Matthew Cheverton, who is another Aztec racing driver, but he is the one in the pro category, and he's the one who's been in the headlines tonight in this blue lobby. So first of all, welcome along to the comms booth. Matthew, can you hear me? Okay.
Good evening to you, Alex. Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, Matthew, congratulations tonight. It's been a very successful night. Just talk us through each race of the night that you've had.
Yeah, it's been quite a good start to a season. It feels weird. I don't usually pull this off, but no, it's a nice change of pace. But yeah, new class, new car, 2 outright wins, and overall second. It was a good night, but yeah, I mean, qualifying started a bit rough. Was down in 6th, 7th. Just could not get the car to do what I wanted. It was a bit frustrating watching everyone else's times drop and mine not do much. But I've always said I'm quite rubbish at quali. I'm better in a race, and I think race 1 definitely proved that. Started strong, kept the nose clean, and then about halfway in I sort of remembered how to drive my car, and then we just kept picking moves off.
What was it that clicked in race 1? Because you were around 6th place, weren't you, at the start of race 1, and all of a sudden you're up towards the lead. What was it that you think clicked, without giving away too much to your rivals, of course?
To be honest, it's just remembering how to drive a touring car. I mean, I do quite a lot of leagues. I'm switching between cars. I mean, currently my current drives include both a Mustang and GT3 and Cup Series NASCAR, and then obviously this touring car, and it's all different styles of driving, and I just sort of took a minute to remember how to drive a touring car. There's a sort of a special way you got to do it to be quick, and then I don't know what happened, my brain just remembered how to do it, and then the pace just came back to me, and therefore went up the board and then eventually took the win.
Yeah, and of course you've got GT3s on Thursday coming up at Bathurst, which is a big old beast. It's very, very tricky cars. So yeah, I can imagine how tricky that is. Tonight you had some, well, especially in that third race, you had some great battles with Ben Bennyworth, and I'm calling back to 2 seasons ago in the GT3s where you were battling with Ben Bennyworth. Is there a rivalry between you two, or is it just good old racing and it just happens that you both meet on the track and have great battles?
Oh yeah, intense rivalry. Can't stand the man, honestly.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Just,
Drive to Survive content.
Yeah, I think it's just a coincidence that we end up in the same place at the same time. I mean, yeah, we had a good championship fight in GT3s. He obviously did beat me in the end, so fair play to him. But yeah, we had a bit. Seemed to wind it back a couple of seasons, and then we had another tussle tonight. I think even with the P1 ballast, I think we had maybe a little bit of pace over him, but if we had an advantage, it was maybe a 10th or 2. There wasn't much, so trying to get past him, make him move stick, was difficult. I got it done, but then a couple laps later he almost got me back, or pretty much did, to be fair, and then I got him back, and we're just swapping places. Obviously I got the last laugh at the end, finishing ahead, but yeah, it was a good fight all in all, and hopefully there's many more to come across this season.
Good stuff. So you mentioned you had the top of the weights in races 2 and 3. There might be people here who are not quite aware how that feels on a car, because it's not conventional to have weight on cars in iRacing. But what's it like getting the weight applied to your car? What's the feeling like for people who might not know?
It's difficult to say, because I didn't really feel much difference. I mean, I think I sort of had a clue to. I think really it just feels heavier overall. Just it's a bit more sluggish out the corners. I think braking distances are a bit longer. I think there are some benefits. It does feel a bit more stable. Like it's about 100 litres of fuel, which is arguably what you'd have on for an endurance race, like a pilot challenge. But it does bring some benefits. Like I say, the extra weight brings a bit more spurting, which in these kinds of cars, when you run the brake bar so rearwards to get that rotation, it does help out quite a bit. But yeah, there are some deficits like top speed braking distances, and I think just overall performance. And I think that showed in the second race when I think it was Stephen Fry and then Saramir was up the back of me from the end of pretty much the entire race and nearly got me, but yeah,
did well. Yeah. Interesting to know about the weight there. So what about Brands Hatch next week? You've been leading the championship, heading, I think you will be, into next week. So how's Brands Hatch for you? A completely different circuit to what we're racing tonight, and it's the Indy layout. So are you looking forward to some, next week, or?
Yeah, it's a completely different track. However, it's sound like a broken record saying, but it's home turf. I live in the Kent area. It's only about a 20-minute drive for me, so I've been there more times than I remember, and I think I've done more laps than I even want to admit, because it's just a stupid amount. But yeah, I love the track as well. It's just a great track, like Paddock Hill, Druids, just some great corners, and yeah, being home turf, I think I'll only accept replicating what I've done tonight. If I do anything worse, I think I'll be kicking myself. But yeah, it always brings new track, different characteristics, and it brings different chances. So optimistic, very optimistic.
Home court advantage. So yeah, we're expecting 3 wins from you next week, Matthew. But we'll
Pressure's
see.
on.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes though. Some great racing tonight. Floor is yours now to give a shout out to any friends, family or sponsors who may be watching.
Yeah, well, shout out to Aztec and all our partners, Claremont Consulting, RSR Sport Classic. Obviously new liveries on the car, putting a bit more emphasis on their partnership, and well, clearly they made us all go faster, so big thanks to that. And then thanks to my parents for watching. They always watch and they cheer me on from downstairs, so yeah, shout out to all those guys.
Fantastic. Well done tonight, Matthew. You are undoubtedly championship leader after tonight. We'll see you next week. Good luck then.
Yes, see ya, take care.
That's Matthew Cheverton, race winner race 1, race winner race 2, and second place in race 3. An almost perfect night for him, albeit qualifying didn't get pole position. We do have another interview, but first have to rehydrate because it's very hot here in the UK at the moment, and in this room with a hot PC it's a little bit of a struggle. But we do have one more interview. I think we got one more interview. If we can get any more in, that would be amazing. But we're going to chat to Andy Chell, and now I've chatted to Andy Chell many times in the interview booth in the GT3 League, and he joins us tonight. Andy, first of all, can you hear me?
I can indeed, Alex. How are you doing, matey?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Good to speak to you again, but albeit in a different league. But
yeah,
tonight hasn't quite gone to plan for you. I don't think, has it? It's
No. I mean, it was every race tonight. If there was an incident going on, I could guarantee I got a ticket to the front row seat of it. And unfortunately, it's taken me out of some pretty good positions. But it's how racing goes sometimes, and to be fair, I haven't had a great night, but the team as a whole really have.
Yeah.
And that is definitely worth a little bit of a celebration.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just.
Let's talk about Quatermass a little bit more. Bennyworth's had a great night tonight. Donaldson had pole position and finished in a good position in race 3 there. Mike Barber's had a pretty good night, albeit an incident in race 1. Quatermass as a whole have had an alright night then.
Yeah. I mean, the two people that we were aiming to do as well as possible have. So I don't know if the viewers know, but only 2 of the drivers score per round.
Yeah.
Ben and Stanley were selected this round, and they both had a really good night. So really good there for us from a points point of view. Mike's getting used to the car, which is why he's. He didn't want to be selected, which, to be fair, I can understand. So he's just getting used to the differences between the GT3s, where he's raced for years. He's raced GT3s. So switching to a front engine, front wheel drive touring car is a little different for him. So I think he's he's picked it up quite well though, to be fair, and he's he's had a pretty solid night, like you say. A little bit of an incident in the first race, but to be fair, let's be honest, and a touring car in it. Let's be fair. So no dramas there, and yeah, like you say, Ben's had a fantastic. Well, he's had a fantastic run all 3 races. Same with Stanley. Stanley was a little worried starting on pole. I won't lie, he was a bit nervous about it, but it looked like he got a good start.
Yes.
Held on well. A little bit of argy-bargy, but again, like I say, that's just how touring cars go racing. So we learn things because, like I say, the guys, Ben's pretty experienced at touring cars, but the other 2 really aren't. And it's only my second season doing this as well. So a lot for us to learn, but we're taking it on board where we can, and I think it does show. The guys have got speed, and it does show. And if I get some luck, maybe I'll be up there. But we'll, if I keep getting the bad luck, that's fine because the others aren't, and I'll take that. So
Proper team manager there. What's the you mentioned earlier that all 4 of you are in the Audi. What goes into the selection process for cars for each season? Because you've actually got a similar format with the GT3s where you put the drivers in the same cars in the same team. Is that a purposeful thing?
The drivers do get a personal choice, but what we do is every year at the start of the season, well, start of the year, should I say, we open it up to the team based off what expertise we've got in the team with cars. Back end of last year, we had a lot of expertise with the Porsche, so from a GT3 point of view, we picked that. The Audi was what we were running last year. I know it quite well. Opposed to the other 3, so we said the same thing. We'll keep to what we know, and what we found is you can drive around any potential weaknesses the car has at certain circuits because you know the car. Whereas if you're chasing that bop or the more powerful cars, then you do tend to. You're always playing catch up with the guys that know the car. So we do very much keep it to a these are the cars that as a team we run, but the GT3s are a good example. It's free choice, but everybody, we sit with the Porsche every week. We're racing the Porsche every week, and that shows with everybody wants to run the Porsche. And same with the Audi, really, to be fair. I know I say it was the one that we knew, and that's why we said we recommended it, but the guys had got free choice, and they all went, "No, we'll go with the Audi. We can learn it. We can talk to each other about it. Okay, yeah, we're on fixed setup, but again, there's little tricks to do the Audi with rotating it and things like that we're talking throughout the race just to help each other out. So it's more from a team point of view, from my point of view, it's everybody's running the same car. They can help each other if people are struggling. Whereas if we were, let's say, I was in the Elantra, Ben was in the Hyundai, Mike was in the Honda, and Stanley's in the Audi. Yes, they're all the same base car in that they're all built to a set of regulation, but they all generate lap time very differently. And if I'm struggling at one race, let's say, I can't go to one of the other guys and go, what are you doing different to me? Because they might be doing something different to me because they need to for that car. Whereas if you're all in the same car, it can be like tonight, I asked the guys would it drop into third into Redgate, into the first corner. They were like, no, keep it in fourth. It'll bog a little, but it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And that helped me get a bit of lap time. So we can do that if we're all in the same car, whereas we can't if we aren't. And that's the thought process behind it, really.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting you mentioned about Redgate. I've found with touring car racing, being in the higher gears, it spins the wheels less, doesn't it? And
yeah.
Because you've got a front diff spinning, it's going to push you forwards, not sideways, isn't it?
It's a very different skill set to what, like I say, what me and Mike are used to with the GT3s. And it is very much that of learning, well, relearning, like I say, just the quirks of driving it, which, like I say, definitely helps out when you're all in the same car, because you can just talk to each other in that manner, whereas, like I say, you can't if you're splitting your cars across different strengths.
For the season ahead, we'll talk a little bit about yourself now. For the season ahead, what are your expectations for yourself in category?
Well, last season I had a mixed showing in the class, to be honest with you. I had some really good days. Monza last season, if people want to go about that, was quite a nice, good race for me until the third race. But we don't talk about that. And there were races like that for me. I just want to get that stability into it. I'm not thinking I'll challenge for the title. But it's not something that really is something I come into. But as you know from the other leagues that we race in, I'll sit and I'll think about points as we get closer to. Right now, it's can I get myself on an even keel? Tonight, yes, it's been bad luck, but part of bad luck is you putting yourself in that position. So again, it's going back and reevaluating it, seeing is there anything I could have done differently? I've had a look at the incidents. There are a couple where I'm like, actually, if I'd have allowed a bit more room, or if I'd have thought about this differently, maybe. So it's very much, as we always say, it's very much driving it the way that Alan Prost would, which is getting back to the mindset of do enough to get what I want. And right now, it's like I say, I just want to get that even keel, iron out the little mistakes, a little bit of ring rust. As you'll know from the other league, I was out of the last race because I've been injured, so I've got that to factor in as well. Coming back from an injury in my ankle and my foot, so trying to put 100 and something pounds through the brake. It was a little painful tonight, but it's like I say, it's just that's my aim, is that we get onto an even keel, and if come a couple of races in, we're looking at, actually, do you know what, now we've got that covered, we can look at fighting for a championship or a decent place within the championship, then that's definitely something I'd like to look at. But at the moment, let's see where the rust comes off and see how the dust settles after the first couple, and we'll address from there.
And what about Brands Hatch next week? How's that track for yourself?
To be honest with you, I missed which way round these were. I thought we were at Brands this week, so I've done quite a bit of running at Brands. There's only 4 corners. Well, so I can imagine it's going to be fast, furious, and it is going to be, as I've just said, taking that Alan Prost mentality of, do I really need to go for this move now, or can I wait a second? And getting that sorted so that you're not getting the luck side of it coming in and sitting there in the gravel trap going, I probably should have waited a minute. So it's going to be one of them, but it is going to be a very fast and furious track, with it being the Indy circuit. So we'll see how it goes, but I am actually looking forward to it. I do think it'll be good fun. Brands is always a good fun track, to be fair. So
at least you've got the practice for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was doing that while I was still injured, and I was okay with it. So it can only go upwards, hopefully. Although I'll probably just jinx it now, and it's going to end terribly. Which way I'm going to blame you, Alex.
yeah, you can. I don't mind. Floor is yours, Andy. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Of course, this is being streamed tomorrow night, but this call out will be live to the viewers. Go for it.
Usual ones, matey, to be fair. So, I mean, I always do, but a big shout out to all my drivers that have been in here today. So, Ben, Mike, and Stanley, they've all done really well. Should be proud of themselves, especially picking up a new car. Any of the other team that have come to join and watch along, thank you for doing it. We appreciate you coming along and giving us some support, and to the fans that have come in and jumped in and said hi. Obviously to the team, because it gives us platform to actually race in, and to you guys, Next Gen and you guys put it on. Without you guys putting it on, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. We wouldn't be able to entertain the way we do. So, as always, thank you, matey.
No worries at all. Thank you very much, Andy. Good chatting to you as always.
I know.
Good luck to yourself next week at Brands Hatch.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you very much. There we go, that was Andy Chell on behalf of Quittermass Motorsport. Not such a good night for him in terms of results as we mentioned earlier on, but he'll be looking for better next time at Brands Hatch. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap it up now with a rundown of our Race 3 results. Jaworski took the win in Race 3 with Matthew Cheverton, who won Races 1 and 2, taking second in Race 3 in the end. Dylan Hunter, with a strong night for himself, takes third in this third race, with Ben Bennyworth, a strong night for him, also in fourth. Stanley Donaldson in fifth position, followed by Mike Barber, making it a Quittermass 4, 5 and 6. Stephen Fry in seventh position, followed by Mark Kent with a triple AM win for himself tonight. Mark Hughes in 9th position, and rounding off the top 10 is Lewis Mason. And the last 5 of the point scoring positions are Nigel Stock, Sean Doby, Carl Thompson, Phil McDougall and Jeremy Nordstrom. Dwayne Hoffman, Roy Plummer and Gabriel Yilmaz and Thomas Delaney and Joseph Gibson finish outside of the points in this race. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Donington Park National Circuit for round 1 of the NXTCC Season 9 Blue Lobby. I've been Alex Eric, your commentator tonight on behalf of Crest Autosport, and this has been Next Gen Racing. A big shout out to our sponsors, partners and affiliates here at Next Gen Racing. They are PowerMaxed, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design, Falcon and PC Builds and Support, and the title sponsor for this series, Doble Motorcycles. Next week, we are heading off to Brands Hatch Indy Circuit in Kent in 1 week from today. Join us live on Wednesday for the Blue Lobby, Wednesday at 7:40 PM UK time, to watch this race as it happens on YouTube on Next Gen Racing TV. Scan the QR code on the lower right there, or click the Discord link in the description to get access to Next Gen Racing's Discord server if you wish to take part in this series in future rounds. Thank you for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the opening round of the night. All systems go for Cheverton in Aztec Racing, but Jaworski is right on the tail in second place, looking for a big battle for the rest of the season. Thank you for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, that's all from us here at Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.